Gather round, freaks. The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Introducing first, making his way to the fight from the Dream Void, weighing in at both 185 pounds and nothing, the burnt son of 1,000 maniacs. And his opponent, from the bottom of Crystal Lake, weighing at 325 pounds of pure viscera, it's Zombie Mama's Boy. So gather around your internet furnace and gather around your internet campfire, because the grimoire is open, it's oozing, it's goozing, and it's time once again for Hey, did you see this one?
The night is dark, and the air is still. The moon casts an eerie glow over the internet, where a group of curious individuals have gathered to discuss their shared fascination for the macabre. They hold in their hands a book with a foreboding presence, bound in flesh and inked in blood, a tome of horror that only opens its pages when a sacrifice is made. Within its ancient passages lie the secrets of the most infamous murderers and monsters of all time. Join us. But beware, for once this book is open, there's no telling what horrors may be unleashed. This is the grimoire of familiar killers.
I don't get it. They should be here by now.
What are you gonna do?
Hello, we did it. Finally, that little bit between the intro song and the opening video makes sense, because it's Jason and Freddy asking the question. I thought they'd be here by now. And I'd like to welcome everybody to the show. It's Hey, Did You See This One? The weekly review, reaction, roundtable discussion podcast, where we just have to ask the question, hey, did you see this one? On this show, we take a film, completely pull it apart, leaving no stone unturned. We are your co-hosts. We're your ghosts. I am Freddy versus Jason R. Phillips, joined as always by Steven Boba Blackfly Waters.
That's me.
Hello. Everybody. How's everybody feeling tonight?
My voice is a little worn out. I did a very long recording today.
That's right.
Don't worry, I'll carry the show.
Yeah, you do.
I got you.
That's exactly what we're going to need you to do here tonight. This is, of course, the show where we talk about movies. The grimoire of familiar killers has been blasted open. Some light is shining out of it, and we have kind of a special week this week, since we finished off the Nightmare on Elm Street series in the spring. We decided to do Freddy versus Jason. Now, luckily, the Jason part of this doesn't feel canonical to anything. This movie actually feels more like an Elm Street film. I was kind of watching it going, I don't know if maybe we should have finished Jason first, but it doesn't matter, because I'm putting this smack dab in the Elm Street Overse, because it does have a lot of connections, I feel.
I mean, if you want to get really fancy about like chronological order, then this should have came before New Nightmare.
Yeah.
Because, like it just doesn't make sense otherwise. But yeah, as I've said many times before, Who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit?
This is episode 222 of the show. I just wanted to let everybody know that because what? How's there somebody at the door right now?
No.
We don't have anybody scheduled to be at the door until next week for a 5-year
damn
anniversary.
dirty kids.
Well, let's see who's there.
Jason, Steve, 202 episodes. They said it couldn't be done, but I never doubted you guys for a second. I'm so proud of you guys. Congratulations.
I am excited to see how long this bit goes for. Will it go to 300?
Oh, are you guys going to do the movie 300 on episode 300?
Yeah, in several years, yes.
Yeah, in another 5 years. Right. Please welcome back to the show. I'd like, for one, I believe Craig has joined the 5-Timers Club many times over. I think he's in the 10-Timers Club. So why don't you hit that for him first?
Okay.
Welcome to the 5-Timers Club. I never thought this would happen.
I can't believe this is happening. Oh my God,
This is what I do it for.
Welcome back to the show.
I only do podcasts so that I can say I've done a podcast 5 times.
It's
That's my
true.
motivation.
Me too. That's why I've done 200 of these.
So welcome back. Let's give him a little bit of applause for just being here today.
In addition to the fanfare, I love it. That's good. Very grateful.
I feel like
Appreciate
there's implied applause in the 5-Timers. It's like the mega applause. It's kind of
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I feel like everyone just like listening to the podcast as they commute to work or wherever you're listening to. I assumed you were clapping.
Yeah.
Just because.
Let's just get from going forward. If we play the 5-Timers Club, we don't need to play the clap. Let's just
Okay.
just
clap.
make that a rule now.
Let's do it.
It is extremely likely that it's a few years in the future after the bombs have dropped, and all we have left is this podcast because nobody listened to it when it was on. So afterwards, it's the only salvageable piece of media that's available. So,
Well, yeah, I've been
what's up?
uploading all of our episodes to hard drive, thumb drives, and just burying them
Just
randomly around.
floppy
the
disks.
parks that I
Tossing them
walk
into
through.
bushes. Yeah. No, that's great. Thank you for
If
doing
you are
that.
listening to this in the end times, reminder: do not go outside.
Yeah.
Do not go outside.
It's like Mad Max, but also like The Walking Dead at the same time.
And Fallout.
And Fallout, Maximum Follow
All
Dead.
of them.
We are talking about Freddy vs. Jason from 2003. Oh,
You sound like Jason in 2003.
bitch. But we do need to get a synopsis for this film. So let's see who's going to ask us this week.
I can't imagine who it would be.
It's time for a synopsis, bitch.
Shit. I don't know. I dropped out. My internet froze for like 30 seconds. So if I'm supposed to be doing something right now, Jason's just waving.
Yeah, you're not. Steven,
were
you want to
waiting
give us
for-
this?
Yeah, I can absolutely do that. So this movie is called Freddy vs. Jason, a movie that is directed by Ronnie Yu, who also directed another one of our Grimoire movies that we've done in the past, The Bride of Chucky, which is maybe my favorite Chucky movie, which I know is blasphemous to some, but also right on the money for others. I love that movie a lot. But I also love this movie, a movie that is about Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger temporarily joining forces in order for Freddy Krueger's power to return. He's lost all of his power to be able to infect the dream world of the children of Elm Street and Springwood. Is it Springwood or Springdale? I feel like
Springwood.
Springwood. There we go. And he's like, I can't come back if they're not afraid. And he really needs the kids to be afraid for them to remember who he is so he can regain his power in order to go on murdering as he
Which makes no sense at all because the first Nightmare on Elm Street, no one knew what the hell was going on. There was no fear when that movie started, and yet he was there.
Yeah,
creating
but
the fear on his own.
The parents
makes-
were afraid.
it makes sense
Okay,
canonically
maybe it's-
throughout the series of Freddy Krueger because his power is almost entirely reliant on how scared people are of him. But anyway, it's more that they just don't remember him, so he's weak for whatever reason. But anyway, he resurrects Jason Voorhees, who's seemingly in some sort of purgatory that I guess he remains in when he's not up and about murdering people. He's just in the ground dreaming about killing people, which I think is really cool. But he brings Jason back to life somehow through hell magic or whatever. He's like,
I searched high and low in hell, and I found someone who might be able to help me.
and he sends him to Elm Street, where he starts murdering to the point that Freddy Krueger gets enough of his power back that he too can start murdering. And he is thwarted by Jason several times, which pisses Jason, or Freddy several times is thwarted by Jason, which pisses Freddy off because he wants to kill everybody, but Jason won't stop killing. He resurrected basically like a rabid dog who won't stop. And so what happens from that point beyond is that Freddy and Jason are kind of locked in combat throughout. But there's also the main story, which is the teenagers of the movie having to deal with all sorts of past repercussions of Freddy's existence, as well as their own demons, while Freddy and Jason are hunting them sort of independently of one another. There's a bunch of stuff in the plot that we'll talk about when we talk about the actual movie, but their story isn't really all that consequential to what we're here to see, which is Freddy versus Jason. I think, in my opinion, not that the story is bad. I think it's okay. I think it's a decent Freddy Krueger plot and a decent Jason plot mashed together. I think there's enough of both to fairly consider them both in equal parts a Freddy movie and a Jason movie. It takes enough from both lores to shake it up into a nice cocktail.
I think for these like versus movies, I think this is a really clever way to do it. It kind of reminds me of like, let's get Aliens and Predator in the same universe. How do we do it? Let's come up with something that feels that they're both equally part of the movie. And I think this movie makes sense to have it be like a Nightmare on Elm Street, where Jason is also rampaging and doing Jason style kills, because Jason's story isn't that heady.
You know that Alien versus Predator is a direct response to this movie.
Oh, yeah. I think I heard that somewhere, but that's a good piece of trivia, because
I'm not sure how accurate that statement is. I just know that it's been said to me many times, and I've seen it in a lot of different podcasts as well as documentaries and things like that. But there was a movie that was planned as sort of an Alien 4, technically, Beyond Resurrection. And once this movie did so well, they just scrapped it and immediately were like, we're doing Alien versus Predator. We've had it in the chamber for years.
Yeah.
Let's just go.
Great. Yeah, that's good. But like it's tough to make them both seem, and spoilers, like it's kind of a tie. Let's just get that out there. But it's like it's a fight. It's like a fight, like a wrestling match. It really has those wrestling match stakes, which is really
it really
cool.
goes, the last like half hour of the movie is just like a big main event.
Yeah. And this movie was also meant to be Freddy versus Jason versus Ash from The Evil Dead. I'm not sure if you guys know that, but one of the main reasons was it was going to be statistically a nightmare to get that involved as well. But they also couldn't agree on a script that worked, because everybody obviously would want Ash to win over both of them, right? Yeah. But also there would be people upset everywhere. It's like the Jason
it doesn't make any
would be
sense.
Mad, the Freddy people would be mad, the Ash people would be mad, no matter what you did. I think it would have been great, but at the same time, the story we got is decent. But I dream for. I mean, I have the comic book somewhere around here. I'll grab it at some point during the podcast. But I've read What It Became, which is a comic book. The comic book kind of isn't that great. I think that this story is actually, in a lot of ways, superior to that story. But it just focuses on Ash being a bit of a scumbag, as he always is, I guess. But
there's a conversation about Jason being a Deadite from the Evil Dead universe, so I'm sure the comic book leans into that. I haven't seen Jason Goes to Hell yet, so no spoilers, but I'm excited to see how that fan theory
that's the movie. Yeah, that movie is the one where the director made the movie with that in mind, where he was like, Jason is a Deadite, and that's how I'm making the movie. Even though it's not specifically stated within the movie, it's like that's what the director went into it, sort of believing in his own sort of headcanon, being like, oh, you know what? We know that the Evil Dead exists because we've seen the book, the Necronomicon, in the other movies, sort of hanging around in Jason's shed or whatever. And we have seen also Freddy Krueger's glove in the Evil Dead movies as well. So there's always been sort of Easter eggs amongst these films that suggest that they take place in at least some sort of vaguely connected universe. Not to mention Chucky, the Bride of Chucky, where they just have a evidence locker full of all of these monsters and maniacs.
Michael Myers masks.
Gear, yeah.
Great. So we can probably move to our brief histories with this film.
A brief history.
I'm a little excited. I love this movie. I love the movie we did last week too, but I really love this movie a lot.
But also the last two episodes, you somehow got like deathly ill for both of them and had to like scrape yourself off your bed to come.
It's true. I don't really remember last week's episode at all.
But you're back and you're better than ever, and this movie fucking rules. Craig, do you want to give us your brief history with this film?
Sure. Not touching on what I've mentioned the past several times I've done Freddy movies with you guys. I've watched the whole series. I love the Freddy series, and I was obviously, especially after the end of Jason Goes to Hell, no spoilers, especially excited for this movie to come. Like 5 years later, Jason Goes to Hell was like 98, I think, 97, somewhere
I think so,
in there.
somewhere around there, yeah.
Yeah.
I was too young.
Very, very
thousand.
But I was excited for this movie to come out, and it finally did. And at the time, it was a huge disappointment to me. It just my expectations were so high. I thought it was going to be the greatest movie.
Jason
of
Goes
both
to Hell
franchises
was
together.
1993. 10 years.
Oh my god!
Oh, Jason Goes
So
to
it had
Hell.
been
I think
10
you're
years.
like
I was
Jason
waiting
X.
for this.
Yeah.
Then we had Jason X. I forgot all about that. That stepchild of the whole thing. Great movie though.
I like that one too. Yeah.
Yes, that's fantastic for so many reasons. But this one, hated it when I saw it in theaters. Loved it when I saw it today. When I watched it earlier today, I enjoyed it much more than I did the first time because I think my expectations have been, subdued having already seen it and
tempered, and also you've been seeing just garbage being churned out.
Yeah,
that you're like, oh yeah, I forgot. Even crappy movies were kind of good at one point.
Yeah, and although like the acting was like pretty awful at points, like the writing was definitely better than I remembered. It was a unique story that I didn't recall that being a strong point, but it certainly was.
Yeah, I agree that the acting is kind of bad from our main players' standpoint. Like the people who are doing the best job are the ones that are sort of unceremoniously taken out early, or like
like even Jason Ritter, like the one like name.
Yeah, one of his first things he ever did, probably, and he doesn't even look like himself, which is bizarre to me.
I mean, this was
now
2 years ago.
Yeah,
not the TikTok Jason Ritter that you're used to.
Yeah.
My first time watching this was in theater also. This was actually my first time seeing any of these movies in theaters, Jason or Freddy, obviously, because I was a literal child / infant when Jason Goes to Hell came out. I was a baby. And whenever New Nightmare, was that 94 or 5? I'm not sure. Anyway, too young to see them, too scared to see them, but this is right around when I started getting really, really into these types of slasher films and really just falling in love with all these monsters and realizing that, like, I always loved the Universal monster movies when I was a kid. I loved Dracula and Frankenstein and Werewolf and Mummy. All that stuff was like my favorite shit as a child. And then I didn't find them frightening, but then all this stuff was like, even the box art would terrify me walking through a Blockbuster. I'm like, these must be the most scary movies ever made. I remember thinking that Hellraiser would probably kill me if I watched it. And I got it to the point that I watched all of them and I fell in love with Freddy and Jason and all of it. And so like I remember just kind of rallying all my friends who weren't as into it as I was, but I was like, come on guys, we gotta. And then so we watched a bunch of them. And they were like, okay, Freddy's kind of funny and interesting and cool. Let's go see it. And we all went to see it, I think on opening night, packed theater, great viewing experience. I remember just like uproarious laughter, people just getting really into it. And having to stand in line. Remember when you had to stand in line to make sure you got good seats?
Yeah.
That was a thing. But I remember having a similar reaction to you, Craig, where I was like a little bit underwhelmed, but I also was I was kind of really into it. And I liked the fact that it was more like actiony and schlocky, and like it was really leaning into Ronnie Yu's sort of like instincts as a filmmaker who is obviously inspired by a lot of like Chinese cinema and sort of like those crazy blood effects that you would see in something like Kill Bill, but obviously you would see in something like movies from where he's from. And like I like just like Jason slashing a guy and a man turning to the screen and just having like like a crazy anime level of blood is not something you've seen in any of these movies before. It's always a slow trickle, or it's always just sort of like that gloppy thing that you're used to in these types of movies, but they're meshing different genre styles.
Except Johnny Depp, of course. That was still the most blood we've probably seen in any scene.
I'm not talking about volumes of blood. I'm talking about the way that the blood is being shot out of a body. Like, this is something we've never seen. But then they don't just do it once. They keep when Freddy gets his
over and over.
Yeah, and when he gets his
and
head
his head.
cut off,
And,
oh my god, it's so
when the guy's cut in half, that was a good one.
Yeah. So yeah, I and it was one of the first horror movies that I'd ever seen in theater, I think. I must have seen some around before, maybe after, but like this was when I really started to get comfortable with going to an actual theater to see this type of stuff, because I was always like, put the blanket over your face when you're too scared. But you can't do that in a theater.
Look.
Everyone will know if you're covering your eyes.
No, you gotta act like a big man.
Yeah,
in public.
But this one doesn't have any of those moments, really. The cover your eyes moments doesn't happen. So you're kind of free to act like a man when you don't really deserve it. But yeah, that was the first time I saw it, and I watched this movie a lot, probably more than any Jason or Freddy movie. Like, I don't know. I think it's just it has that sort of early 2000s nostalgic quality to it, where it's shot in a way that is aesthetically pleasing to me. It has all of the sort of resonating notes of both scores from both franchises. There's moments where they mesh both of them together very well in ways that is like just so appealing to my brain, when like they're, it'll be like a shot of a city street or like a town street, and you hear both of the scores kind of like mingling with each other. And I think every time they decide it's going to be a Jason Voorhees movie, it feels like a Jason Voorhees movie, and every time they decide it's going to feel like a Freddy Krueger movie, it feels like a Freddy Krueger movie. It's wonderful. Anyway, Jason, go ahead.
It is wonderful. My brief history with this film is that my name is Jason. Moving on. No, not really. Well, yes, but so I've historically talked about on this show. I figure we've done probably about, of the 202, we've done about 75 horror movies at this point, maybe more. I've talked about it at length about how I couldn't handle horror growing up. But when this movie came out, I was so fascinated by it. I didn't watch it in theaters, but I did watch it all the way through, and I remember it pretty vividly watching it this week. So I had seen it previously, but I hadn't watched it again since probably 2005, and it just resonates with me in this way that it can somehow cover all of the bases for these two horror icons, yet at the same time it's not necessarily a scary movie, because it's kind of meta in the same way that A New Nightmare is, in the same way almost Scream is, where it sort of lampoons itself a bunch for the fun element. It's a very fun movie. So that's pretty much it for me, actually. You guys kind of covered everything else. It's a very fun movie for me, and I did watch it when it came out. And now the ambulance is coming.
They're coming to take you away for your piss poor take.
Yeah. Or my completely
wrong opinion.
Regular take. But yeah, that's pretty well it for me on this movie.
Yeah, I agree. Watching it, I was like, yeah, this isn't a horror movie. It's an action movie starring like horror characters. That's exactly how it felt. And like the whole plot, like the side plot, main plot, whatever, that like the teenagers, it was fresh but familiar. Like you're watching it and you're like, oh yeah, this is a Freddy movie. Like these kids are gonna smoke pot and get killed. And they do. So like you recognize that, and it's schlocky and it's in your face. Like they're not pretending to be something that it's not. Like Wes Craven's New Nightmare had to like re-innovate and totally like make a new style of movie. This one doesn't. It just goes back to the old thing. They're like, listen, we're not trying to scare you. We're giving you more of what you love. There's going to be blood. There's going to be teenagers being killed.
Yeah.
There's a lot of little things where like while they're going to Crystal Lake, there's the dream stuff happening, like they really, like I kind of already mentioned it, but they found a really good way to like mesh both characters without feeling like somebody had too much screen time. That said, it does very much feel like a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. But the Jason stuff is so fucking good. And this movie really does a good job at like giving them their moments in really unique ways, in almost like a professional wrestling way, like I mentioned as well. And there's two scenes that really stick out of my head is when Jason's like in Dreamverse and he's dragging the woman into his cabin and he opens the door with like his soul's inside. And then later when Freddy jumps out of the water, that iconic scene, the color grading for both of those sequences are so like them. And they do this thing where it seems like a dumb throwaway line early, but it almost goes superhero movie where she's like, his weakness is fire and Jason's weakness is water. So can we do anything with that? It is dumb.
It's so dumb that even everybody is like, they look at her like, what the fuck?
It's as dumb as in Superman versus Batman when they're like, wait, Martha, how do you know that name?
except that this movie is having fun with itself, and that movie is taking itself extremely.
Oh yeah, this is a better movie. I'm not saying. This is.
She literally says like, "How can we use that?" And you know what? They don't. They never use it.
They're like, we can't.
Yeah.
Can't. Why'd you bring that up, dummy?
Why'd you even say that? I mean, it's a cool thing. Like, it is cool that she was like, that is true. Thought. But also, like, yeah, but Jason literally lives in a lake a lot of the time. He just hangs out in there.
He just kind of like, he's not dead, though. The water doesn't kill him in the movies. He just kind of is tied to an anchor at the bottom and waits for someone to.
Yeah, there's a whole in between two movies where he's just at the bottom of a lake for several years, just chilling.
From like 3 to 4 or 4 to 5, something in there.
Yeah, but to continue off your point there about how this movie is not trying to scare you, it's very similar to The Bride of Chucky, where that movie isn't necessarily trying to scare you all much as it is trying to tell. It's almost like a character study of Chucky and his newfound bride. It's like. They're the characters. We're more interested in them than we are in the main characters. I have seen The Bride of Chucky many times, and I still right now I'm struggling to remember the human character story in that movie. I only remember the story of Chucky and his wife. Why am I forgetting her name? Tiffany. Oh my god, Tiffany.
Oh, Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we should probably go into production talk because this might actually be a chunk today.
It's true.
All right. Quiet on set. Are we rolling? Okay, let's shoot this piece of shit.
Sound. Speed. Action!
That's right. So, just off the top, the budget 25 to 30 million. It made about 82 million gross. So, no sequel, but it is a cult classic.
It made $116 million. The reason that they did
domestic and Steven's looking at worldwide. Growth.
Yeah. Domestic was 82.
Well, anyway, it made a lot of money. It made almost 4 times its budget. But I don't think that the no sequel was because of the lack of money that it made. I think that it had a lot to do with where the money went when that money was made. Because this was a handshake deal. This was something where 2 movie studios got together to be like, all right, let's do this together, because Freddy and Jason were not both owned by New Line Cinema, but I believe that New Line put up all of the money in order to make this. You even get our freaking cameo from Robert Shea, as we do in every Freddy Krueger movie. He shows up for 2 seconds in this movie, which is great. I wish that he had at least a little bit of dialogue, but
like a line,
yeah, he probably did, but they probably had to cut out a scene because, like, every time he's in, like, he's not the greatest actor, but he's not bad for a movie studio production.
For someone who's not an actor,
yeah, exactly.
It's a little bit Spider-Man in the MCU, where Sony owns the property and they just put up the money and like get the rights to bring him over, sort of situation.
If you want to make that comparison, sure, it's a little bit like that, yeah, but it's not. Okay. It's not exactly.
Yeah, or like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, when they got to get Warner Brothers and Disney to agree to everything.
It's one. I guarantee you, there was probably a similar Mickey Mouse Bugs Bunny clause where you had to have equal screen time. For Jason and Freddy.
Speaking of things that aren't equal, well, this is going out of production talk. I'll hold on to that. Never mind.
I have a little bit of insight from Bloody Disgusting. Basically, there was a long development history. There were several scripts. And basically the idea floated around for more than a decade before the version that made it to production. Writers Damian Shannon and Mark Swift eventually produced a treatment that resonated with New Line executives, and that's what we ended up with. And the original Shannon Swift script was quite expansive. It reportedly was around 130 pages, which is about 2.5 hours runtime. with a projected budget of 60 million in its early form from We Minored in Film website. So take that with a grain of salt, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that I know for a fact that this was something that had been in talks since Jason Goes to Hell. I'm sure you've seen the sequence, Jason, at some point in your long life of living. Have you seen that, the claw coming out of the ground and taking the mask or whatever? Like, "Rah!" You must have seen that at some point.
I feel like I have. I don't know if I would have clocked it the same way that you would have, as being more like a film buff, but it does remind me of any time over the years that any crossover was going to happen. You know, like Batman versus
it
Spider-Man
was like
film.
the post-credit sequence of its era, where it basically teased at the end of that movie that, like,
Okay.
the next time we see Jason, he's going to be going toe to toe with Freddy. And this is the next time that we saw Jason, because there hadn't been any except Jason X, but that Jason X
That's in the future.
is a completely different, a whole different thing. Yeah. I guess there's a world in which you can argue that Jason X takes place after this movie. Like, I guess when he kills David Cronenberg with an American flag. But yeah, it's been this long since we've seen him in any kind of non-futuristic form, and it was teased, and this is the promise that we were given. And I don't know, man, I think that this script is so clean. Like, it goes from point A to point B in such a uniform and well plotted out way, and everything makes sense in a way that is completely serviceable. I don't think it's an amazingly constructed script, but I think that I know where I'm going, and I'm not like confused by anything. Everything makes sense. There's a lot of setup and payoff that happens, and I'm never like, what? I'm constantly just like, yes, exactly.
The movie also feels a little ahead of its time, because nowadays we see these kind of things where studios are more willing to like make movies like this that are sort of like straightforward. I have a note here from Wikipedia that like David S. Goyer was brought in to be a script doctor, so he probably tightened it up. David S. Goyer, of course, is a legendary producer. He cut back storylines, he combined characters, he trimmed runtime down to 90 minutes, and the budget was reduced significantly by doing that as well, because there's a 2.5 hour version of this movie that we fucking could not get through to do this podcast, and we talked about it for 9 hours.
I would love a 2.5 hour version of this movie. I think that 97 minutes is completely fine, and I think that the movie doesn't outstay its welcome. I think just as soon as you start to get a little bit of the slasher fatigue, it ends. You know, right when you're kind of on the cusp of like, okay, I think I've had enough of this. The movie's like, yeah, we know, we're done now. Now we're done. Don't worry, it's over.
I think it's a perfect length.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have too much more. I mean, the director, he didn't do much after this, but he also didn't do a ton in entirety of his career in terms of directing. But I think that he directed one of my favorite Chucky movies, and he also directed this, which is one of my favorite Jason and/or Freddy movies. So I think that he's also 75 years old right now, I'm reading, which is I was gonna say, if they make another one, bring him back for Freddy versus Jason 2. As long as you can get Robert Englund to do the voice, just
according to GameSpot,
he has said he is done. He has said he's not going to be Freddy ever again.
Oh, he's retired from Freddy.
He's also like 75 years old.
True.
Yeah.
According to GameSpot, which is like a fucking video game rag, Ronnie was initially reluctant to take on the film. He wasn't familiar with either of the properties, but he signed on after being able to basically give a fresh take of both characters, which maybe not a fresh take, a fresh perspective might be more apt, where he was able to take
Prince, perhaps, is what we
a fresh Prince of Elm Street. And there's some other stuff where like Kane Hodder had played Jason for so long that it was actually controversial to have Ken Kurtzinger to do the role. And
it is weird that he didn't.
They wanted a different build for Jason for this. They wanted him to be taller and thinner in contrast to Robert Englund's Freddy. They wanted a big tank man. That's why in my like little intro, I clocked that like if these two men fought each other as human beings, Jason would fuck him up.
Yeah, there is something though about the Kane Hodder. Like I like the build. Like I like when he's a big chunky Jason because it's scarier to me. Like I feel like it's realistic that he would be able to pick me up with one arm. That's not to say that I don't like the Jason in this movie. I like that he's kind of weirdly lithe and his head feels small compared to his body, and like he almost reminds me of like a tree that came to life or something, you know, where he's just like this weird sort of slow moving ant like creature. But you know, the physicality that he adds to, we're going to watch Manhattan this month as well, which I think is like the best in terms of like showing us his physicality and like just the character that he adds from his turns and the way he pretends to be breathing and stuff. He also did it for so many movies that I became so accustomed to it. So seeing this Jason is one of those things that when I was watching it, I was like, Jason doesn't look right. Freddy looks great, but Jason looks wrong. What's going on?
According to Fangoria, the magazine, Hodder himself said he was told he had the role, given the script, and then was replaced and never told why. So that's shitty because Kane Hodder fucking rules.
Yeah, I think he's still pretty sour about that.
I believe it. Yeah.
But I mean, the reason you just gave makes complete sense. Is they wanted it to be more contrasty. But there's an argument to be made that he might not be as tall, but like just the thickness of him in general is like pretty contrasty. But you know, we saw him in Jason X. That movie, you can really see how thick he is because they give him a nice sleek space suit to wear. Or whatever.
Yeah,
cool. Yeah,
which is tight. I can't wait to cover that this time next year, 2026, baby. Also, glorious. As far as the practical and VFX go, this movie has a lot of good practical effects in it, but there are some pretty glaring VFX moments, like the
very 2003 CGI.
Yeah, with a budget of 30 mil, I was able to look the other way, but when that caterpillar comes out, I was like, "Ooh, man, jittery animation! Look at that!"
And in the pinball sequence too.
I don't care about that. But when you're in the dream world, it's fine.
It's
Anything in the dream world gets a pass from me.
It's true, and I was fine with it too. But they did build a CGI Jason for that, and it goes on, I think, in my opinion, a little bit too long. Like I know Freddy does these things, you know, like he wants to make a moment that's like a gimmick, and it works. But I did feel like watching him bounce around felt a little bit too of the era CGI way.
I think that it's comedic and it's meant to be, and that's why I like it. And I think that he's going that long and he's doing that much to him because he's trying to kill him. If he was to do this to a regular teenager that he usually kills, the person would have died so long ago. And he's kind of like, what the hell? You should be dead by now.
This is the main event. This is the long fight, not just the the pro wrestling terms, whatever the like early fights are. This is the main event.
Oh, the undercard one.
Yeah, that's it. This is not the undercard. This is the one that's going to take a while, and they're going to pinball it up.
Yeah, I have some other stuff, but it's not really. We kind of covered all of it. Robert Englund was like frustrated making this movie, but basically because he was working on other stuff. But okay, yeah, I think I'm good with that.
I think that's maybe like in the time moment, but like they gave him so much to do in this movie, and I think that he looks back on this project pretty fondly, where he's just like, I get to do a lot in the Freddy movies, and this one I got to do the most. And he did like the majority of his own stunts. Like he was getting ripped around on cords and stuff, and he was still pretty old in this movie. He's like, I think like bordering on 50, just getting yanked around like he's in a fucking kung fu movie and shit, like he's in the Matrix. Mm-hmm. And he did a lot of it himself, which is pretty impressive considering. I can't imagine that he's like going around working out and stretching and shit for this type of stuff on a regular basis to come in. Maybe he is. I don't know. Maybe he does yoga or something. Downward dog, bitch.
I will say it's interesting in this one that he gets a bit of an evolution of his makeup, which we never really see.
He has so many different versions of makeup in this movie. It's wild.
Yeah. The demonic makeup towards the end is so fucking cool. I thought it was so cool. His teeth are all way more mangled in this than they usually are. And the prosthetic for his main mask looks really dope. I really wanted to give a shout out to that as well.
I like that it changes depending on his sort of strength level, and then when he's in the dream world, it's different than what it is when he's in the real world. Like his contact lenses even vanish when he's in the real world compared to when he that like opening sequence where it's like panning across his face and he's like it shows his eyes and they have all that sort of like red veiny. They look like shitty contact lenses, but they're kind of cool. Like I do like them. So many different versions, just sort of based solely on like his strength level, and then also what he's doing in the dreams, and whether he not he's in the real world. And his teeth sometimes are different too. They're spiky in one. They're sort of
they even focus right in on the spiky teeth once or twice.
Yeah. Anyway, I think it's like they just had a lot of fun with Freddy in terms of like how many different looks can we give him. And I can't imagine that Robert Englund was. I mean, he probably wasn't having a great time having to put all that makeup on, because I assume it takes forever.
No, I read that his makeup was so thick that he could not feel the flames from all that fire around him. Like he couldn't even feel the heat from the flames. He said,
"That's crazy." All right, should we go into the body?
The body of the episode.
All right, let's get into the body.
The body of the episode.
That's right. This is the portion of the show where we break down the film, basically scene by scene. The movie opens with a recap of Freddy and his life, and some shots of the previous films. He's mad that everybody forgot about him.
Whoop.
Sorry, I have to do that sometimes because Jason gets underwater his microphone.
The movie opens with a recap of Freddy and his life and some shots from previous films. He's mad everybody forgot about him. I can't come back if nobody's afraid, he says.
I think this is like a really good way to intro this movie, because
it's like a previously on.
Yeah, it feels like a cold open. Yeah, like a previously,
which is like a Jason movie, right? Like every Jason movie has that intro.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, they do a bit of a recap
of the previous movie. Well,
it's weird though that they give him a whole different wardrobe and stuff. Like it is strange that, and then he has like the knife fingers and like they take this sort of broad scope of Freddy and they just sort of give you like, this is all you really need to know about who he is and what he's about.
But then what I appreciate about that sequence is they also like cut in actual clips of like some of his most famous kills, like the marionette or whatever in part 3 and everything. So it's like it gets you amped up. You're like, oh yeah, fucking, I forgot Freddy did all this cool shit. We're gonna see more of that.
Crazy. He turned into a giant worm and ate that fucking lady. That was cool too.
I can't come back if they're not afraid.
The idea of that scares the hell out of me when I was 8.
There is
on the back of the back of the VHS, you see that like the eating of the person.
There is something to be said though about the fact that like that montage at the beginning is visually more frightening than anything else you see in this movie from beginning to end. There's nothing that is actually sort of like viscerally frightening. Maybe the part when all those cotton-eyed kids are like sitting up, that's kind of freaky, but like nothing else really is horror movie frightening. Which I've said already, I think is fine. I think this movie is not trying to be a horror movie. It's trying to be a fun cartoon show, and we all get to strap in and go on the Jason versus Freddy roller coaster ride.
I mean, not for nothing though. This opening sequence has Robert Englund with it's a flashback to one of the first time he did it. He has no makeup on.
It's also the only time we've had Freddy monologuing to the audience, which is like very funny in a weird way to me, where he's just like,
"All right, gather around, everyone. Let me tell you the story of Freddy Krueger."
He's like strumming on a guitar with his giant knife fingers.
And then it goes over to Crystal Lake. We get some immediate like gratuitous nudity, which is like standard.
Right away.
You
go from previously on to here's some tits.
Yeah. I also think that transition is so. I mean, I love it so much that I put it in the intro video for this month that we've been using for the last 5 years. But he's like, I found somebody that can maybe make him remember, and then like it just like shows like this mask in the dirt, like turning toward the camera, and we go into the eye, and then it's such a good way to like show us that this is Jason. He's in the mud, in the muck, and we're going into his dream, basically his dream world. Freddy Krueger is able to penetrate his dream, which is so fucking cool. And I don't even think
cool.
I maybe even realized that as a kid. I just thought it was like an interesting comic booky transition, but like no, it's the movie telling us that we're going inside of Jason Voorhees' head.
But what it makes me wonder is like how does Freddy find the dreams to go into? Like, does he have like a directory? Does he have like an operator's board where it's like, oh, Jason's dreaming now, I'm gonna jump into that one over there, let me just connect.
He's got a Rolodex, like an old like
exactly
Rolodex,
like,
and he
I wonder what
that knife club.
What does the admin look like of being Freddy?
He picks up an old timey telephone, the ones that you have to hold like this, and he dials
the separate earpiece.
Yeah, and
click,
it
click,
rings.
click, click.
If it doesn't connect,
Like, damn it, they're awake. Son of a bitch.
So we get a classic Jason, stalk and kill. She walks up to the tree. She thinks there's something behind her. He stabs her through the tree. The knife comes out the back. Then his mom shows up and is like, "You were always a bad kid. I wanted so much more for you." And then it turns out it's Freddy manipulating him. So he basically is.
I don't think that she says that. She says that she loves him and that he can never die and he's the most powerful being. He's not chastising Jason. She's telling Jason that he fucking rules.
Yeah, but she also has that tinge of like the backhandedness of it. And
she's like, you need to make mommy.
You need to wake up, Jason.
Yeah.
You can't die. You can never die.
Which is, I fucking love that they're pulling again from, of course, the beginning, but they probably could have, if they paid her enough money, got the original actor to come back to do this, but
they offered her and she said the part was too small, is what I read. Like, I think she wanted a bigger part in the movie.
Like, well,
she gets two massive sequences in this.
Also, it's not her character; it's Freddy pretending to be her. Like, what did she read the script? Probably not.
What do you mean I only get 2 scenes? Listen, I'm gonna be dead soon, and I'm not Jason. I can die. I can really die. Pay me 15 mil.
I have a question about this for you guys because it's kind of confusing visual language. Is he in some sort of tomb that also he's able to like put his hand out of?
To me, it just looked like
his heart and lungs start to like regenerate or like reinflate. It seemed very.
It's like they're breathing. Yeah, the heart starts beating.
Yeah,
it looks to me like he's just dead in the mud. Which
okay.
I mean, again, Jason, you haven't seen Jason Go to Hell. I don't want to fucking ruin anything for you. But yeah, like
this moment is the exact moment where I was like, I've seen all the Freddys.
But like it doesn't matter. Again, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
To me,
it wouldn't help you that much.
To me, it's like after Jason Goes to Hell, there was probably like 15 other summers where not summers, but 15 other adventures where he killed people and he got stabbed or run over by a semi truck and fell into like a really swampy area and just couldn't get back up and just stayed there dreaming about killing people until this very moment. So it's like he fell in a swamp and the swamp dried and now he's just like, and he gets up and wakes up because that's what Freddy told him to do.
I love that he never dies and he just keeps dreaming about killing people until
it's
his
so cool. Yeah,
it gives insight into what he was doing when he was locked at the bottom of the lake for all those years.
Jason.
It also and it also makes me think that like he doesn't know if he's awake or asleep. Like even when he's asleep, he's just doing the exact same thing that he does when he's awake. So like when he dies in real life, he just goes down for a bit and then continues doing what he does until he regenerates or whatever, until he gets struck by lightning or some shit and wakes up and starts killing again, which is like, it's cool. Like it's a very cool character thing. But I mean, it's like healing factor in X-Men or whatever, where it basically gives you a get out of jail free card to do whatever the fuck you want with the character. But I don't mind it because I like the fact that Jason will always return no matter what happens to him.
Yeah, if he's not a deadite or whatever, he's at least some sort of zombie that can regenerate. And if he's not bound,
here's the real deal. Sam Raimi gave the blessing that he is a deadite. So he's a deadite. He's just a different type of deadite. He's not like the cackling deadites that float around going like he's just one of the deadites that he's a tank deadite,
There's all sorts of different deadites. There's tree deadites. There's invisible deadites that just like speed along the ground, making creepy noises.
Sometimes it'll just be a severed hand that runs around trying to strangle.
That's what I was
exactly.
gonna say.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a whole medieval zone of skeletons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Skeleton horde.
Yeah. Sometimes it'll be 1,000 versions of you trying to stab you with forks and shit.
Cool intro, very of its era. Metal music plays through this music.
But I do want to just, before we move past it, I do also want to say that I think that this opening sequence for Jason's intro, after we go through the eye hole in the mask, is absolutely the most Jason-y, Jason shit that we see throughout the entire movie. Like, it feels like a Jason movie, but it doesn't feel like a Jason movie from the 80s. It feels like what a Jason movie would be if they were to just make an entire Jason movie in 2003. And I fucking love it. And I kind of like that the remake or whatever, the one that came out in like 2010. I think.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's a bit long, but
it's a bit long. I don't hate it. I think it encompasses all of what the Friday the 13th franchise is in a very good way. But I do like this vibe. I like the lighting of it. I like the overused smoke machine stuff. I like that it's got that sort of blue tint to everything. And I would love to see a movie that is shot entirely like this for a full runtime of an actual Jason Voorhees movie. But anyway, I just wanted to give it sort of a nod to be like, it's so good. Like, it feels like a Jason movie, and we only see a dock and some trees and like I think one cabin.
Well, on that same idea, the intro sequence that is like the credits, there's blood being splashed everywhere. But what I love about it is metal would be, if they made a bunch of these in the 2000s, I think Let the Bodies Hit the Floor by Drowning Pool
that's what the trailer was for Jason X.
For Jason X, yeah. So I think that like
was Let the Bodies Hit the Floor. Yeah.
Typo Negative is on this soundtrack, and that Typo Negative feels like the perfect music to have behind Freddy and Jason fist fighting each other to the death, which is
whatting each other,
fisting each other to the life.
Oh my god, I see.
We immediately go to the kids. The kid squad. We've got Lori and Kia and Gibbs or Gib, and two douchebags come in, an idiot and a abusive jock sort of type. Trent, I think his name is, or Trey.
Yeah.
They're playing Fuck, Marry, Kill with the Three Stooges. They're smoking and drinking. They switch to Fred, Scooby, and Shaggy, which is just so fucked up. They're just being teens. Jason has sort of arrived at the scene simultaneously,
which is also great because it's like it goes up, it pans up, you see Jason's shadow, and pans up to say Elm Street, and you hear ding 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 ding, but then immediately you hear
perfect.
You're like, okay, very good. They're doing it, guys. They're doing it. Yeah, the guy who comes in, the douchey guy, is just like, ugh. Like, he's so
worst.
good at playing this role that I'm like, this guy's probably a dude in his life, right?
He's probably just like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't paid enough to be a good enough actor to actually pretend that he's like that.
To be that good at being a piece of shit.
They found a guy on like some college campus being a dickhead, and they were like, "Hey, you want $500?"
Yeah, put him in the movie. We're gonna fold you in half in a couple of minutes, though.
Backwards.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
It's always
spoiler
nice
alert,
when
that guy dies.
Yeah, spoiler alert, he dies in probably the most horrific death in the entire movie, but it sets up sort of the tone of what we're in for. But it also does the best thing, which is show us a character that you really, really want to die and not drag it out for 2 hours until they die. They just die immediately. Like, thank God that guy
also
died.
give him the like most complicated death of the whole movie, probably.
Yeah.
And by complicated,
here's the biggest asshole
twice.
And
just before we get to that, though, we're introduced to the idea that Lori had a boyfriend she misses. She doesn't want to get with any new guys. Kia, who's played by Kelly Rowland, is trying to get her with this idiot, and we have teen sex and drinking happening. Gibbs' boyfriend is an asshole and bosses her around. And Lori's new boyfriend is a dumbass, a complete moron who keeps trying to like do like facts about things, as I recall. He's being real dumb. The guy that like sits next to them on the couch, and
He's not her new boyfriend. He's just some guy.
Well, I know that, but the guy that Kia's like, you got to hook up with this guy so you
Kinda,
can get over
yeah.
your old
Also,
boyfriend.
is he doing facts? Are you sure you're not just like getting Peacemaker season 2 confused with this movie we watched?
I love that you watched Peacemaker season 2. That's fucking great.
Yeah.
There's some good atmosphere
He sits
here.
down and he's like, "Ask me anything about manta rays."
Yeah, ask me anything about
Owls.
tarantulas or owls. There's some good atmosphere here. I found it does feel very horror at the beginning here, and you're right that it's never really scary. But I'm not really scared by normal horror anyway, so I just like it when they lean into it trying to be scary at least.
I like that
Jason,
they're going over the top to the point
Yeah.
that it's camp. Like it's not trying to be a horror movie. It's not doing, jump scares every 2 seconds. It's not doing it's doing enough. It's enough to tell you that something's about to happen, but like
Yeah,
you're
and I
not
mean it's an
actually on the edge
homage.
of your-
If you've
Yeah.
seen the previous like 20 movies in the combined series or whatever,
Yeah.
you understand the language. And it is very similar to the first scene of the first Freddy movie, where it's Nancy and whatever their names are, and Johnny Depp all like hanging out.
Absolutely, but it's
before
also
Tina, and
similar.
then Tina dies.
Yes, but then also within the same sequence, they do a very good homage to Friday the 13th Part 4, which is, the one guy goes to the kitchen and is like realizing that there's something off in the kitchen. It's like they're marrying the two types of horror and the things that you've. So if you're only familiar with one of these franchises, you'll go in and you'll be seeing the language of one, and if you're overly familiar with the other, you're going to be seeing the other, which I think is like. For a guy who said that he wasn't familiar with either franchise, he was able to really embody both. In sometimes in the same scene, you're getting vibes of both movies, which is
he also had
pretty good.
nine scripts to play off of, apparently.
Yeah.
Gibbs goes to the
I've read
shower.
17 scripts.
Jason goes up to kill them. Trent, I think we find out his name is. He stabs him through the bed multiple times.
Trey.
Or Trey.
Yeah.
And then he folds him backwards in the bed, which was iconic to me when I watched this for the first time.
I mean, they do a classic sort of like, this is something they do in a lot of Jason movies, which is like they have sex and then the male whoever just had sex, the guy usually gets murdered horribly via stabbing, which is like, yeah, you're getting killed. It's like a sort of like an allegory or whatever for sexual violence. And it very much looks like, because he's on his stomach, and it looks like Jason is like stabbing him in his asshole. I mean, that's what it looked like to me.
I also found Gibbs' reaction. No, that's fair. That's fair. Also, folding him backwards is insane.
Yeah,
the sound it makes is crazy. Gibbs' reaction to that was the most over the top, like girl, like scary movie girl scream. And
she's also our first of many Canadian actors that we get throughout this movie. I think this movie was filmed in Vancouver, so
yeah,
we're getting a ton of Canadian actors.
She's Ginger from Ginger Snaps, which I haven't seen, but it was one of those movies that we'll probably cover on this show, because it's a Lost Pages episode kind of movie. I remember being like that in The Faculty. I remember all my friends loved, and I was like, too scary. Faculty's not even that scary. It's just like
Ginger Snaps is also one of those ones that's like uniquely Canadian. Like it's more beloved here than it is south of the border. People know it south of the border, but like not as well as here, because
just like Sum 41. So the police show up. They want everything to be contained. They want to keep the Freddy stuff on the down low. And it turns out that Jason doing all this was to bring some fear so Freddy can come back. So one of the girls tells the cops that when they're interrogating Lori, she's like, they asked me a bunch of weird questions about dreams, which
would be very weird.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
if
she's
just died and you're in the police station and they're like, so did you dream
have you been having
anything
dreams
weird lately? Like, pardon me.
What? But she zonks into the dream world while this is all happening. She like puts her head down on the table, and then it like I don't know if she fell asleep or if it's Freddy. Freddy has this ability that he can, I don't know if it's induced sleep, but he can like create almost like a mirage.
Yeah, I mean, you're in a dream world. He's fucking with your reality. He likes to keep you in your surroundings for a bit before he reveals that you're in my world now, bitch. But I also like that it's again doing the same sort of gags that we've seen before. So it's easing you into it in a way. It's not throwing every single Freddy thing at you immediately, and it's not throwing things at you that you're not familiar with. So I think this movie was very much aware of the fact that it was taking place well after a lot of these movies had wrapped up and not been seen from in 10 years. So instead of just being like, we're going to give it to the people who want it, the people that have been waiting, they're also like, but there's going to be a whole new generation, people like me who had never seen any of these movies in theaters, but was familiar with them, coming in and having my own sort of like unique experience and liking the fact that I'm getting sort of a best of playlist before they start to get into the uniqueness of it. I think it was a smart move, but I'm sure a lot of people hated that though too. Like, 35-year-olds.
The old heads. We don't get any little girls singing the like 1, 2, Freddy's coming.
We
for
do.
you.
In the literal scene, we get that.
Does the kids, because we get a cool thing where it's like bloody footsteps because she's walking along following, and then the like missing kids posters all turn and like look at where she's going, and then she finds the kid. Does the kid say the thing? Because I thought that she did.
She says he likes little girls or whatever, and then she turns around and she's in front of the Elm Street house, and then we get the skipping and they're singing the song, and that's where she is like, she wakes up. Yeah.
So yeah. So
I feel like Jason fell asleep during the movie at this point.
Ding, ding,
I dozed off
ding,
once or twice.
ding.
Because she has to know it, because there's a point later where she knows the song and is trying to remember it, and then dude shows up, another Canadian actor. What's his name?
The red-haired guy from Boogie's Diner.
Yeah,
you guys remember Boogie's Diner?
I don't.
Vaguely.
No, it was a Canadian,
Sounds familiar.
very cheap Canadian sitcom about a bunch of teenagers working in a mall.
Brendan Fletcher. That's his
Not
name.
to be confused with the other great Canadian Brendan Fraser.
Ding, 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 ding.
So the other guy heads back to his house. We have a Freddy moment with him where Freddy tries to kill him, but he's not strong enough yet. Freddy is
so funny and silly. He turns into a big shadow and tries to stab him, and he's like, "Damn, not strong enough yet." And then he looks right in the camera and he's like, "But soon I will be. Until then, I'll let Jason have some fun." And he's talking to us, the audience.
Yeah,
which is so
straight down the lens.
Yeah, looking right down the lens, and I'm like, Freddy, I've never heard you speak to me this way before.
Yeah,
and like after this moment, I don't think he does it again. Like not even once.
No,
does he?
that's it.
Like I would have loved a moment like halfway through where he's like, "You're never gonna believe how I got out of this one." Or something.
Oh yeah. Oh well, yeah. You're probably wondering how I got into this situation.
Yeah.
He does wink at the camera at the end.
That's true.
It's true. It's true. On the balcony of the friend, he's like, my best friend just died, and his dad is like, I told you not to go over there, and you better not investigate this anymore. And also, have you been drinking? He's like, whatever, Dad. And he goes into the dream section. That's when this happens. When he comes to, his dad's getting decapitated. There's blood splatter. It's crazy blood splatter. I think Stevie mentioned that in production talk. The blood splatter for some of these moments is just out of control.
This isn't even the crazy part yet. The crazy is when it's like Kill Bill level, like hose, like
also when Lindemann like tells Kia to like go save the others, and he's been stabbed by that thing on the wall, and he's like, his head's all bloody, but when she walks away, it cuts to like the wound, not the wound, but like next to the wound, and there's just blood just yeah. But
that's so he gets fucked. Like there's during that fight, you blink and you miss it moment, like he gets thrown into like a shelf. It's almost like the thing that it land, like he gets thrown into that, and the amount of blood, the depth of it, you're like, that went through him probably. Like, that was so much depth.
We're introduced the idea that a young Jason Ritter is in an asylum or a mental facility of some sort. he knows Lori and her host, the Elm Street host, and one of them is actually having demon dreams, his friend Mark. So the plot thickens here. It's a good ripple.
He's not having
now,
the dreams. His brother told him about the dreams, and that's what landed him into the psychiatric ward, where everybody's taking Hypnocil, which is a drug from Dream Warriors, I think, the third movie.
I was going to ask you guys, like, that is from one of the other ones. I remember that weird drug.
It's a drug that suppresses your dreams. It's funny when they zoom in on it later, like the photograph, it says like Hypnocil, and then it says like dream suppressant. Like it just says it like it's some kind of terrible infomercial. But they're forcing everybody in the psychiatric ward to take it, which I assume this is the same psychiatric ward from
probably
as well.
Yeah, probably.
They do show the name of it at one point.
Oh, I think it is. Yeah, I think
it's like Wood Hill or Westbine or something.
Hill.
Yeah,
no,
and it's where Welcome to Primetime, bitch. That's where that happens, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Also, I realized here that Will is Lori's boyfriend. If nobody knew that, who's listening or watching,
was it the point where he says, "That's Lori's house, my girlfriend"?
Yes,
my ex-girlfriend. I don't know. We haven't seen each other in years.
And then they come up with a plan. I guess Mark creates a diversion by getting drugged, because there's that, like, the guy who runs the place who's like, if you don't take your pills, I'll fucking hypnotize you to oblivion.
Good. See, this is one of those moments where I'm like, this guy is a fucking grade A actor here. Like, we got Jason Ritter hypnosilling his way through this performance, and then we've got Brendan Fletcher killing it. Like, he is believable. I believe this guy is terrified and scared of the consequences of their actions, and I want to know more about this character. And just when I'm like, there must be like, but then you look at the two, right, and you're like, Brendan Fletcher, not an unattractive person, but standing next to Jason Ritter, he's not hot at all, right? Like, the comparison between the two, you're like, this is the weird looking guy who's crazy and is not going to be portrayed. He's not going to make it to the end, basically. Whereas Jason,
he reminds me of the guy who played Rorschach a little bit. Like, he reminds me of the guy from He reminds me of the guy from Animal Kingdom, who was in the faculty.
Are you just naming redheaded people?
Basically, I think I am accidentally doing that, because the next person I was going to mention was Steven Stills from Scott Pilgrim, who looks similar to this guy, who also is a redhead.
Is this a form of racism? I can't tell.
Yeah, they all have no souls. I'm sorry. Then there's that weird scene where Lori's dad is trying to, like, feed her Hypnosil and her orange juice.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, well, thank you.
Yeah,
I need to stay awake.
There's that moment where he's like, at least drink your juice. He's like chasing her with a glass of orange juice. Imagine if one of your parents were acting really weird and then they chased you out of the room trying to get you to drink a glass of orange juice. I think any of us would be like, what the fuck?
Yeah. My theory about her dad is sort of my theory.
Okay, I didn't want to press it yet, just in case you're just going to state facts from the movie.
I'm not going to. Maybe. My theory about this dad, because he looks old enough that he could be one of the young parents who is the last romantic parent. Shut your mouth. Or he was literally just a teenager and remembers that he's
He is the doctor who is in charge of all of the people that are being kept under Hypnosil treatment,
which we find out later in the movie.
Yeah. So he is absolutely aware of Freddy Krueger and his existence because he's lived in this town forever. So he would have been probably not necessarily the age of the teenagers in the first movie, but he would have been one of the people that have been dealing with this shit for a while. One of the adults that gets dragged into it.
Because this is only 20 years after the first movie. I know it seems like a long time, but 20 years isn't that much in terms of this guy. This guy's what, like 50, 60 years old?
Like 55.
I mean, the way that we can put it into perspective for ourselves is that this movie came out 20 years ago.
Don't do that.
Not real life perspective.
In a few years, I'll be this dad and I'll remember the horrors of 9/11.
That would be like us saying like we could have been the kids in Freddy's nightmares or whatever. Like, do I look like a fucking 60-year-old man right now? No, I don't.
I don't think the three of us will ever look like 60-year-old men because of our the millennials and young Gen X don't really age the same way. But that's another theory for another time.
I think that's mostly a mental problem.
True.
That most millennials have. They all think they look young, but they look their age, folks. All of them do.
Listen, I don't look like I'm 40. Chris Lindemann is the nerd character, and he's introduced. There's also a stoner setting up a party with invite. Shut up, Steve. Laurie tells the squad about Freddy. They're going to get scared and make him strong. I think that's accurate.
When you turned your head that hard, we got a nice look at your Reed Richards hair, graying hair on the side. just you know.
No, that's X-Men. Okay. Well, I'm glad to have that Reed Richards.
All these things out.
Listen, our guest for next week has had gray hair his whole life. I think
his whole life. Is it Albert Einstein?
Yep. He's Steve Martin. The two from the psych ward, Mark and Will, show up at the school. Mark basically walks in just telling everybody about Freddy, which I thought was great.
Yeah, just walks into the school. They just escaped an insane asylum, and they're just like, cool, let's run into school in the middle of the day.
Start scaring everybody about Freddy. Like right there, Freddy in his little dream zone is like, excellent. They're doing it. It's happening. They're also freaked out from again another Jason situation.
Another good slap in the face of how good Brendan Fletcher is, because he appears shorter than all the other kids, which is how he blended in, which I guess supports your Rorschach statement earlier, Jason. He is a short redheaded man.
So I'm saying it.
But he finishes the Freddy chant or lullaby, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, and it's funny because it's like 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you, and he's like, do you know why they say that? And then she's like, why? And he's like, because that's when he comes for you. It's like, oh, like I was like, wait. I burst out laughing. I was watching this with Danny, and then we were both like, I guess she should have been thinking about it more literally, because like it's literally telling you what's happening in the song.
That's true.
And then we get the reveal that Bingo's there. What's his name? Ritter is there, and he's like, "You're scaring him, man. Stop scaring her so hard like that. We just got here, and you're scaring everybody."
Well, they reunite, and then she is overwhelmed and passes out.
17-year-old Jason Ritter and 44-year-old whatever the hell this woman's name is. She is the one character in this movie that every time she's acting, I'm like, old, too old for this movie. Why are you the main person?
Oh, the character that plays Laurie. She was in Undeclared around this time, the sitcom, playing a high schooler. She's does look old. Like she's 25. Yeah,
she's old. She looks old. I mean, this is also the early 2000s where they were casting people that were 10 years too old just because they could get around the legalities of having people film for 22 hours without it being like an issue.
Also, in my opinion, like she's a good scream queen. Like she's got a bit of that agency.
I think she's maybe the worst actor in this movie. I would have preferred Kelly Rowland maybe, because I think that she's doing a pretty decent job of everything that she's involved, except for that one F slur that she drops at the end. I was like, she's great, and then I'm like, oh, what the heck?
Speaking of
that's
that,
how we know this movie is a 2003 film.
Yeah, in her defense, it was a retort to racism. so like, I was like,
and she was trying to go low. She was just trying to hurt his feelings, and she knew that would be a good way to.
She's like, oh, racism, eh? How about I use my homophobia to fucking deflect that?
I summon the power.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing that I never noticed, because in 2003 or 2005, whenever I watched this, Destiny's Child was literally like the biggest act. Kelly Rowland looks really young. Like I didn't realize how young
that's one of the
they
reasons
looked.
That I was like, I think that the guy who plays Linderman looked age appropriate. I think that Kelly Rowland looked appropriate. I even think that what's her the one who gets killed first at the beginning, or no, she doesn't get killed first.
Ginger Snaps.
Yeah, Ginger Snaps.
Gibbs.
Well, of the three girls, she's the one who gets killed first.
she gets killed first. I think that she looked age appropriate. I also think that she was doing a really good job acting wise. Like I was every time she was doing stuff, it was believable to me. The issue that I had with Lori was that every time she was acting, it reminded me that I'm watching a movie and I'm watching an actor. She's like, I don't even know. I don't even know anymore. You know. And I'm like, oh God, okay. It could have been the writing. I don't know, but it just.
No, it was her. Like, this is the only thing like she's been in that's even recognizable. She's just been a bunch of like C horror movies other than this one.
Anyway, I hate to like shit on performances when they're okay, because they're not. It's not horrendous. It just was
for what the movie is, it's fine.
Yeah,
like she's
for
not
what the movie is,
like,
it's fine. But also when you're surrounded by a bunch of people who are taking it seriously and are trying, like it looks like most of these people got into their characters and into the heads of their characters and were trying to feel tormented and estranged from other characters and remembering their dead brother's suicide. Like the guy Brendan Fletcher like felt tortured to me, like he felt like a real character. And the weird irony of this movie is the two characters that you're meant to believe in the most and feel the most connected to are the ones that feel they feel disconnected from each other, and I feel disconnected from them as an audience member because I just didn't find them believable. There's a moment where like Jason Ritter is saying something and it almost seems like he's laughing at the line. Like it's like is that an acting choice? Like is he trying to like, when people are giving bad news or like like if somebody dies unexpectedly or tragically, sometimes you tell somebody who doesn't know yet and you both sort of giggle to each other. You're not laughing at the fact that they died. You just have this nervousness about it. Yeah. I'm like, is he doing that? But it just seems like he's like laughing. Like I don't understand if this is meant to be coming across that way. Anyway, what I'm saying is that their performances didn't line up with everyone else's around them, so it made their performances sink a little bit.
We've covered nearly between Freddy, Jason, Halloween, and Chucky. We've covered that's probably almost 50 movies of actors. We've seen some real stinkers. I don't think this is the most egregious, but you are right. I do agree that the level of acting between some of the actors is kind of all over the place. Because that Lindemann guy has been in a million things.
Yeah, he's this is also one of his early things, right? Like, yeah, and he showed up and he played the nerd character well. That death, like I believed he was a corpse. I was like, he's dead. Like his like even before they show that there's a lot of blood coming out of him. I'm like, oh, he's dead. He died.
Yeah. He's like, go ahead. It's just a scratch, and he's like, he's almost fucking. Yeah, his scalp's fully off almost. But during this sequence, this is a really fun little Freddy moment where Gibbs is asleep on the couch next to Kia, who's reading this weird, like
it's like a plastic surgery magazine.
Plastic surgery. But then as she turns the pages, they get like more and more like graphic until Freddy comes out of the pages and cuts her nose off, which was really crazy.
Cut your nose.
Yeah,
which is great. I love that. And I almost said Michael Jackson's there, but like that's rude because I mean I don't know if his nose actually fell off, but we all heard that his nose got.
It's alleged.
Yeah.
Also, she asked about anesthesia to the guidance counselor.
Isn't this like the school nurse? Why is there a plastic surgery magazine? But then you realize
I think she was in the dream at that point.
She's already in the dream. Yeah. Also, they wouldn't have magazines in the school nurse's office. Like.
Well, they might, but she probably wasn't reading a magazine about plastic surgery. She was probably just reading like a Cosmopolitan that had an article.
Geographic.
That's what it seems like.
Cool. They're not going to have a Cosmopolitan magazine. Well, the way I looked at it is like as soon as she picks up the magazine, that's when she's in the dream because like she's in when you're in a dream state or whatever, and nothing really makes sense, but everything makes sense at the same time. If you're in a waiting room in real life and you fall asleep and start dreaming that you're in that waiting room, what are other waiting room things that exist around you? Magazines, weird charts, all that stuff that exists, right?
But the way that it's presented is interesting too, because it's presented like reality, and as she's turning the pages and looking at the fucking things, it's crazy. It's wild because then it starts showing like the open skin surgery on one of the pages.
Yeah,
And it's like,
it's a good Freddy moment, man. Freddy would absolutely do that to you. You're like,
it's true.
On page 3, you can see the horrors of liposuction.
Yeah, so the police show up for Mark and Will at this sequence. They escape. They go to like a library, and we start getting more information on Freddy Krueger. Mark's brother committed suicide because he was getting dreams of Freddy, I guess. Another famous redhead actor playing that brother.
Another Canadian too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's who I was thinking of when I mentioned the show Boogie's Diner. It was
okay.
Yeah. And then also in A Christmas Story as the bully.
Oh,
right. Yeah.
Always have had a weird crush on that man since I was
a good-looking guy.
Since I was a little boy.
Could have played Rorschach, I think.
Could have, shoulda, woulda, coulda. His eyes are too close together, maybe.
Could have played, played what's his name, Carnage as well.
Yeah,
the Marvel movie.
Should have.
Probably would have been better
than Woody Harrelson. We watched that movie. I'm thinking, oh god, that was awful. Such a bad movie.
It's very bad.
Somehow
not as bad as the first one.
one.
They get progress. Like the first one isn't even that bad. The next two are.
The first one isn't even that good either, though. That's the thing.
True.
They
it was
progressively
watchable.
get worse.
Yeah.
They just did it wrong.
I saw Venom alone in theater because no one wanted to see it with me, so I went and watched it
before you had superhero fatigue.
Yeah, because I used to love all of this shit. I'm like, well, I got to see the Venom movie, and no one wanted to go see it, so I was like, I'll go by myself, and I did.
I would have seen it with you. Let's.
I took a picture at the end, and I said it was all right. It was weird that Tom Hardy made the character choice of I really have to pee the whole time. That was my main takeaway. Was that he was walking around like, oh god, I need to use the bathroom. Yeah.
So I like the character. I like Mark's character because he's kind of like the I know the rules character, which all horror movies seem to have.
And he presents that sense of urgency.
He does. Well. He seems panicked, but he's also the one that moves everything forward up to a point, and then as soon as he dies, everything screeches to a halt. And like they don't know what to do because he's gone. And then what do they need? The person who's familiar with Jason Voorhees shows up.
Yeah,
you know, it would have been great. Tommy Jarvis. If Tommy Jarvis showed up, that would have been so fucking cool.
That's true. But there is a cool moment where the police chief is freaked out about Freddy, and then that character comes in and he's like, no, there's a copycat killer that's doing Jason Voorhees.
I think it's just the Crystal Lake killer. It's a copycat, and they're like,
no, it isn't. It's he who shall not be named.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you better not say his name in here.
At this point,
I did like it though. I like that I like the fact that this guy is a new cop to this area, but he's familiar with Jason Voorhees, and like that's an interesting fact. I know that there was a version of this script where what's her name, Nancy from the Freddy Krueger movies and Tommy Jarvis were meant to. That was going to be the whole crux of it. Was like these two characters are meeting. And Tommy Jarvis and Nancy Kerrigan are meeting to deal with the
Nancy Kerrigan,
to deal with the evils, yeah. Which would have been cool, but at the same time, that's probably
it was supposed to be.
Yeah,
that's going to be not Corey Feldman reprising his role as Tommy Jarvis. It was going to be Jason Bateman.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, right around the time he was doing Arrested Development as well. That would have been very interesting to see.
And
maybe
then
he
Paul
was like
Rudd's character from Michael Myers. The curse of Michael Myers shows up. That would have been interesting, but like I do like the idea of those two lores intertwining because like there are characters from both universes that have survived and moved on, whereas this is just the mask and the glove move on. But that's probably the 2.5 hour version that we're looking at, right? Is we need to catch everybody up on who Tommy is and who Nancy is. And
if this movie was,
she's like, I'm getting the Dream Warriors back together. She meets them
and they have to go to each one's house. If this movie
was
the
bar called,
now,
like the bar from like the Dream Warriors, like the alley, like Jake's or whatever, where like when she gets killed with the
drug.
syringe.
It's called something stupid. It's called like Heroin Alley or like.
I swear it's called Jake's. I think it's just called Jake's. Yeah, it's like something.
If this movie was made now with like the way that they just make extra long remakes and stuff, the 2.5 hour version would absolutely be what you guys are describing. It would be that long, and there would be a fucking 40-minute sequence of getting all the old characters to come back, which I'm kind of glad they didn't do here.
For sure, it would have been like Rob Zombie's Halloween. Like that's so long.
But yeah, that would have been the $60 million 2.5 hour version. Would have been like, we need to spend a ton of time re-educating everybody on who these characters are, and also give you enough information that people who are new understand what's going on, which is too much. But everybody knows who Freddy is, and everybody knows who Jason is. All you need is a little droplet of blood in the water at the beginning to make everybody be like, oh, he's a weird child killer who's a dream monster from hell, and this guy's a zombie. Got it.
Yeah.
I know enough. But the movie also, like, throughout, gives you everything you need to know about Freddy at the beginning. But then they give you more for Jason throughout the movie. It's almost sort of like a retelling of who Jason is as you move through, because Freddy doesn't even really know who Jason is, and he's just sort of, he knows that he's a mama's boy and that his mom will get him to do anything, but then he needs to dig deeper and deeper to find out, like, what are you scared of?
My sort of small theory there was that he knew of this guy that could, endlessly kill for him and bring the fear back. But he was like, I'm sure I can just thumb him out. I'm sure I got him. If he tries to turn on me or anything, I just kill him. It's going to be fine. But the thing about Jason, his whole character is that he's unkillable. And we see some crazy moments where he's the most unkillable in this that I think he is in any Friday the 13th movie. They do some shit.
Because his mom, they set that up at the beginning, right? Where she's like, you can't be killed. Like, they literally say that for the first time ever.
There was also another version of the script that would have been really cool, but also I don't think fits tonally, which is the Hellraiser crossover with this as well, which is Freddy Krueger searched hell to find somebody, and so Freddy's like basically like a renegade in hell, running around looking for somebody that can like help him bring himself back to power. And the Cenobites are like, we must find this Freddy Krueger. And,
the Hellraiser movies are way too serious to blend.
That's the other thing, is like there's no levity to Pinhead. Like he basically tells you to shut the fuck up and then rips your skin off.
They all start as like serious dark movies in the first movies, but then Hellraiser sits in that, where the other two are like, well, let's have fun with this. Hellraiser doesn't have fun with it. Jason, you've watched all the Hellraisers now, right?
I have. I've seen every single fucking one of them.
Yeah, I even haven't done that. I mean,
even like the goof.
There's not a second of levity in any of them. It's always like,
I was going to say, like, even the goofy ones, it's still like Pinhead and all them. They're not having fun. Yeah, they're
no.
I mean, you can make the argument that Jason is the same, but like Jason does kick a boombox at one point in one of the movies.
Well, the thing about Jason is, as the movies progress, he gets flanderized to do the most outlandish kills. Like that, how can he outdo the kill? There's that one Friday the 13th where he uses, I think, a different weapon in every single kill, which in itself is kind of funny. But the problem with Hellraiser and trying to cross over with these characters is both of these characters, like Freddy, got flanderized as kind of a Bugs Bunny who also does as outlandish gimmick kills as possible as the movies progress. You could probably do a Freddy versus Jason after like Friday the 13th Part 2 and Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, where Hellraiser Part 2 comes and they kind of have a very serious fight together. But at this point in the early 2000s, you can't really. There's no funny Hellraiser.
No, it doesn't work. You could have Chucky, maybe. Chucky could show up. But what's Chucky gonna do with these guys? I think that, like,
I'm out of here. Fuck this.
The only thing you could do to have a Hellraiser crossover would be at the very end of the fight, as they're fighting, like the portal opens and Pinhead walks through it and just takes them both back to hell. And he's like, "You both are. How did you get out?"
Rip their faces off.
Yeah, it's like just chains them. Like, you're coming back to hell. Yeah, that would be cool and fun. But like, it also would be goofy and fun. Anyway. I would have. I don't think there's a way you could possibly do it where there's a throughout the entirety of the story, Hellraiser's involved, but I think it just like an end sequence where they're killing each other and then Pinhead just shows up and
Or
drag them back to hell is kind of a cool idea.
You make Hellraiser a little funny in this instance.
No, I think that Hellraiser is too like Craig was saying, it sits in its seriousness and it never, even in the funny movies, it's still like Pinhead himself is a very serious character, but the funniness is happening around it, right?
Yeah. At the worst,
it's too
Hellraiser
also
likes
deals
to go
with stuff
after
that's like existential and like
that's what I'm saying. Hellraiser
truly
likes
frightening.
to go after drug addicts and people with nothing to lose. Freddy
Or
and
people who
Jason
have
just kill
everything and
teenagers.
people who have everything and have experienced everything. I think that's the more frightening aspect of Hellraiser is like a billionaire will try to figure out the lament configuration because they've done every single weird perverse thing that you can possibly do on the planet, that they need to experience something new, and the only way to do that is by reaching into the ether and finding hell. And they're like, well, you haven't had all your skin ripped off and put on backwards, have you? I can provide that. Ding.
Have you been turned into a Christmas tree?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, in this film, that doesn't happen, but we are introduced to the fucking mystery machine. And Will and Mark kind of have a conversation where they're going to split paths. Will has to go find Laurie to basically explain the situation. Mark's going to do some more research. And then we go into one of my favorite parts of the movie, the cornfield rave, where there's sex and drugs, and Lindemann shows up. And
date rape.
He's a loser.
Yeah,
Everybody's
favorite character, date rape.
Jason shows up.
That's my new James Bond villain, by the way, Jason.
Date rape.
Date rape. Yeah.
I don't know if you can.
Odd
draw
Job
that.
and Date Rape.
And Knick Knack.
I've hired Knick Knack, Odd Job, and Date Rape for this job.
And Bond is like, I was already on my way to being able to do that. So I don't
You're a madman, Goldfinger.
It's like, that's kind of my MO.
Yes.
For some of the movies, especially.
You're cramping my style, Date Rape.
Clip that.
Oh,
you
no.
fucking psychopaths. There's a great scene.
Who's your dealer?
GHB. He's in the KGB.
All right.
Hey, you're the one.
This is getting real Hellraiser-y. Too serious.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Lindemann tells off Kia in a great way, where she's giving him shit.
No,
because
this is the worst.
That was satisfying.
It's so like a dweeb in the shower, practiced it a million times kind of thing. And like, it's one of those things that makes you believe as a teenager when he tells her off, like, I can do that. If someone's mean to me, I can do that. And then you watch it as an adult and you're like, ooh, Flinderman. How many times do you say that in the mirror, pal?
True, but I liked that there was this sort of like F storyline that Lindemann's been pining after Laurie the whole time. So at least he got to. Yeah,
I like to believe that
there
was
his
also
comeuppance a little bit, or her comeuppance.
I like to also believe that there was a world where he actually tried to date Kia at one point, and that's
well, yeah, because as soon as he tells her off, she changes her attitude towards him.
She's like, "Let's dance, bitch."
Yeah,
she realizes that he's not a little wiener, and she's like, "I kind of like that you told me to go fuck myself or whatever."
Kind of got a little.
Is a horrible lesson to teach.
He's got BDE, if you catch my meaning.
I don't.
It's a terrible thing to teach.
Big dick energy.
All right, Jason, we understood what it stood for.
Craig said he did it.
Yeah,
I didn't.
Yeah. It's one of those things that, like, in the early 2000s, that was something that a lot of young men utilized as a weapon in their arsenal to talk to women, was to be fucking dickheads to them. And in this movie, he does that, and she immediately is like, and like, I remember people when I was in high school and then like beyond, like there were people that would meet women by just being mean to them, and that was like the desirable effect. And I'm like, you're meeting the wrong people. If that's how you're meeting somebody, that's not somebody that is ever going to respect you. And then all that needs to happen is for someone else to be meaner to them than you were to them, for them to be taken away. And it's like
called negging, Steve.
Yeah, it's disgusting, and it's a disgusting practice, and I've never
fucking
believed in it, and it's why I've never.
But if you're a pickup artist,
yeah, you wear a bunch of rings and like a weird velvet long coat or something.
just as an aside to that, the pickup artist culture of kind of this era was very much predatory to
Dress like Chris Angel and
before incels. Some dickhole who was like, conventionally attractive would tell all these like ugly nerds to like act like a dickhead to a girl and she'll fuck you.
Yeah,
that's not how any of that works.
I have a very good friend who he had no luck being a nice guy, and then he started doing that, and then it was working for him, and he got stuck in that for a very long time. And then very quickly, as you start to age, other people realize that that's just like a weird, terrible mechanism. Yes. So maybe it'll work for like 19-year-olds or something, but if you're trying to find like a serious person to be with, that's not your way to go.
No,
you need to find somebody who's interested in things that you like and you can enjoy having a conversation with, and not being like, "Shut up, bitch." That's how Freddy does it.
Freddy's an incel.
Don't be a
confirmed. Freddy. So the kids talk about Freddy and Trey's death. He takes Lindemann to dance. Will and Laurie catch up. They talk about Weston Hills. He tries to warn Laurie, but they go dance. And the music in this sequence is fucking, I don't know. It's unlike anything I've ever heard. It's weird, like generic dance music. But
I mean, it was only a budget of 30 mil. They couldn't get Daft Punk to.
But they did have, there are artists not like, they got typo negative for like the metal, which is.
I wanted to ask you guys, have you ever been to like a party like this? Like a field party like this?
Like,
no.
Kinda. I went to it was called Scoob Fest. It was I
don't mean an organized event. I mean an impromptu field event.
It's like everyone to the cornfield. No, I have been to a couple like forest parties, like woods parties.
Right.
So I guess
I've partied in
this, but
I haven't been in a cornfield, but I have been to a similar event, like where it was very long grass, like tall grass, where you had to like you're in fucking Jurassic Park, and we were probably all at risk of getting Lyme disease.
And
didn't realize it. But there was an abandoned house in the middle of this like giant overgrown
ding
and we would go there and party all the time, and then it got too widespread to the point that it was like this large. And as soon as you start putting that many stupid idiot teenagers in one spot, something bad is bound to happen with that level of isolation and like that level of like tall grass where you can do whatever you want. Like look at the glow stick guy in this movie, like something bad's gonna happen, right?
Well, let me give you a little advice. We had a house party where we were getting
I'm not done my story.
Well, I'm just adding to
right. What's your advice? Tell me.
The advice is don't call your party an eviction party, because these same stupid teenagers will destroy the apartment because they are like end of days.
Yep.
Anyway, continue. My advice is don't do that.
Eviction party. Anyway, so the abandoned house that we all partied in for several years, somebody decided to light the curtains on fire inside.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and people were peeing everywhere and like throwing beer bottles at walls and stuff. So everything's like soaked in piss and alcohol. And this guy lighting the curtains on fire just lit the whole house just lit up. And everybody ran, but then I was like looking inside and I could see that there were people upstairs still and like on the main floor, and I'm like, oh my god, and I'm like, do they not know there's a fire there? And I ran in and I grabbed people and I was like, get out. And then the last person I saw was one of my closest friends, and he was like trying to put the fire out, and I could see the fire was like creeping to the doorway, and I'm like, he's gonna fucking die in there. And I ran in and he couldn't see, and I closed my eyes and I grabbed him and I pulled him out, and then we all ran in different directions, and I fell in a giant hole. I fell into like a huge pit, and I was like, how do I get out of here? But it was like a pit that was overgrown with that tall grass. So it was like tall grass everywhere, and then just this hole. So I'm like stuck in this hole, and everybody runs away. And by the time I pull my ass out of this hole, everyone's gone. And I could just hear like sirens in the distance. And if you guys want to hear part 2 of that story, subscribe, like, share.
Oh man,
You got
killing me.
attacked by a predator because predator seems what would come next if you're in a
Yeah, I was walking around
hole.
here like,
Yeah.
Like, how many movies have we talked about where it just seems like that is like a serial killer origin story, like a supernatural, like
I got burned in the grass pit. Yeah. They called him Grass Pit. Yeah.
We all like in the eviction party.
I'm like a scarecrow. I come back like he burned alive in the grass pit. Yeah.
Putting on the Ritz.
So no one died. Everyone lived, right?
I mean, I didn't. That's why I'm the grass killer now.
Whoa,
this is an aside.
When I get people, I say, "Your grass, his ass."
The eviction party had a thing where there was a skateboard jammed into the wall, and throughout the night, people kept making the hole bigger, so there was a hole from the living room to the kitchen. And also, somebody took the banister off the staircase and threw it through the like, you know how apartments sometimes have that like shower unit that's put in, so it's like a wall of like PVC plastic. They threw it through that, so it's we
just sounds like
we got
you invited a bunch of maniacs to like a.
Well, I was pretty punk in my 20s.
I don't think that's punk.
Haven't
you seen the new Superman movie?
Yeah, that's a punk rocker. Yes, you are.
Yeah,
that was a song about me.
This is bringing back memories of another party that I went to. This guy had like a huge party at his grandparents' house, and then by the end of the night, I won't tell you all the details, but by the end of the night, there were holes in the walls everywhere. Wallpaper was ripped off. In the kitchen, someone had punched off the water fixture, like the tap, and there was just a stream of water. And like we were trying to get out, and we went down the stairs, and there was like a foot of water. And like these elderly people who weren't there had like a cork collection, like this big barrel full of corks that they had been, every wine bottle they'd ever, their whole lives, they'd collected these corks. Like it was like this collection of just like this nice sweet thing that a couple has been doing for 80 years of being alive. Okay, maybe, but that's it's like collecting martini drink stirrers or whatever. Like, you collect a thing when you go somewhere with your partner. They had all these corks, and somebody pushed the whole barrel over, so the whole room of water had all these corks floating everywhere. And I was just like, this is the saddest thing I've ever experienced. Like I've been at this party since the beginning, but I did not take part in the destruction because I thought it was strange and odd. But I think that like I heard maybe like 6 months later, the damage report was like $2.5 million worth of damage to that house. It's crazy.
Well, we don't need to keep playing whose party was crazier. I think you win by that damage report.
I just feel bad about the corks being lost. Imagine having that cork collection. That's probably like a sentimental thing that you can't replace. Like, our corks are gone, sweetheart. We
had corks in there from the 1980s.
Young. Yeah. Also, maybe we drink too much.
Let me move us forward a little bit. Gibbs walks into the woods. She's wandering around. She sees Trey, who is dead, in the bushes. I think she's in a dreamscape or something is what I wrote. Wanders into a Freddy Killzone boiler room, which is great. We see her zonked in reality.
She's lured in there by her dead boyfriend, who's holding his own.
Who's like, get over here.
He's holding himself by like his jacket or something, I guess. Like,
don't make me tell you twice.
Take my eyes off you for 5 seconds and you're already fucking or whatever.
I can't remember what he said. He says like, you're getting shit faced or whatever without me, and like, I've been dead for less than a day and you're already at it again.
Pretty awesome boiler room dream zone.
This is just sort of like, what is the iconography of Freddy, right? Boiler room stuff, steam pipes, scary rust.
There's that great moment where he like scares her to fall over the railing, and as she's about to get raped by a psychotic rapist. That's what I wrote. In real life, she survives.
You say rapist, but not rape.
Yeah. She survives in the dream, apparently, because I thought that she had died when she fell off. But also, Jason is lurking during all this. So there's this really crazy part where Gibbs is in a locker hiding, and as they try to...
Freddy's waiting for her to come out. And
yeah, but
he's
Freddy is like,
"Ah."
I'm going to kill you, but she dies in the dream because in real life, Freddy stabs through the raver into her. So she
yeah,
like
Jason does,
disappears
yeah.
from the dream, which I thought
Jason-
was awesome.
I also like that he threw him like a million miles into the sky. Remember when he like
Yeah.
yanks the raver off, the rapey glow stick guy, and throws him? He's just like, "What?" You never see him again. It would have been great if he landed right in the middle of that party. Just like, like
Yeah.
everyone's like, "Oh fuck!"
It's
Well,
that
this
rapey
is what I
guy.
was.
Yeah,
This is what I thought was interesting when Jason goes out into the middle of the party and is just like slashing people.
Funko Pop
We've
character.
seen-
That character, the Funko Pop character, is called Glowing Rapist.
That's
Wow.
terrible.
Yeah.
We've seen Freddy start doing shit to a party in reality in Nightmare on Elm Street movies before, but Jason keeps a low profile, and for him to be like on fire, like wailing and
great,
stabbing is so crazy to me. That's why this is one of my favorite sequences of the movie.
Where they get, he the guy's like, "This Everclear is killing or kicking my ass,"
Kicking
or
my
whatever.
ass, yeah.
And that's like the Jack Black insert or whatever, you know, like
Yeah.
in that era, like
the two
they
like
were
jocks.
you need to have a heavy set, curly haired, long haired guy who can be like charismatic. And I mean, I do like when Linderman shows up and he's like, Linderman, like he's like so excited that Linderman's there just to force him to drink alcohol.
Yeah.
Which isn't, I mean, obviously it's a terrible thing to do to somebody if they don't want to drink, but like he's not beating him up, he's not atomic wedging him, he's not doing anything, he's just forcing him to drink, which is a form of bullying, and I'm not condoning it.
Well, he gives him a beer swirly.
What I'm saying is that in this twisted man's brain, he thinks that he's going to be forcing Linderman to have a good time. Like he's like, he's probably slapped him on the butt after and said, "Go have a good time, Linderman."
Yeah, now you're ready to party.
Yeah.
Now you're one
But
of
when
us.
these two like jocks encounter Jason, he turns one of their heads completely backwards, and then
that guy's
he
like
pours
a cartoon
beer
character.
all over him. He pours beer all over Jason.
He throws
and
the
his little-
Everclear, which Everclear is just like,
Oh, it was
90
Everclear. I thought it was
just
beer.
like
You're right.
it's just like pure. It's
Yeah.
like gasoline almost, isn't it?
No, you're
Yeah,
right.
like rubbing alcohol. It's very, very strong.
So when I was watching it today, I was like, how did beer go up like that? I didn't put together that it was Everclear. I missed that. That makes way more sense. So
I
thank
think
you
that's
for-
why they had him say it, so that it would make, like, he literally has to say that line for that thing to make sense. But
also throwing a flaming machete and stabbing somebody with a flaming machete that's thrown is so fucking good.
I will also say that the one thing about this entire sequence that really kills it for me every single time I watch it is this guy running out of the fucking cornfield clearly with a mouthful of fake blood.
I noticed that. I noticed that too.
I noticed it the first time I watched it. I noticed it the second time. I noticed it every single fucking time I watch it. And I always think like they could have just had him run, because they cut away from it like several times. It's like him running more than once. So like they could have filmed it several times without the fake blood in his mouth, and then had the fake, but
there's no time. There's only a $30 million budget.
It's true, low budget. Yeah. But I do think the crowning achievement of this entire sequence for me is he throws the Everclear on him, and then it immediately cuts back and he already has the torch. You can see the torch behind him. It doesn't show him grab the torch or anything. It's not an action sequence. It's like he hits him and Jason's like, and then all of a sudden he just has the torch and lights him on fire, and then it cuts to him running away, and then he's doing this serpentine sort of run through the cornfield, and Jason is just moving like very slowly, completely straight, like he's not.
That top down of the cornfield of Jason moving through on fire is so fucking good too, because it's clearly like
funny.
digital effects, but it looks good. It looks.
It's
cool.
not though. It's not digital effects. It's real.
No.
Yeah.
It's probably my favorite visual scene of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and then this is where they intro the blood hoses, which is what I'm like, what? Because like I didn't know that this was going to be what we're getting, right? Like, I watched the trailers, I was excited for the movie, but as soon as Jason shows up at this field rave, and just starts hacking into kegs that put the fire out on him, and he slices a guy, and he turns towards the camera, and it's like it's giving me Jason 3 vibes, but like we're getting Kill Bill vibes. We're getting Japanese and Chinese like crazy techniques that are just over the top to like, it's almost like, how like anime does everything that is like based upon like the film sort of what is the word I'm looking for? Inspiration. There we go. They're using that, and there was like a brief period in the early 2000s where so many movies were taking Eastern influence from cinema and putting and just injecting them into every North American thing, and it was so fun for a bit.
So
like
Jason in
was
the
a little bit
sequence,
an anime for a little while. Like I could see
he's
them
sort
making
of-
an anime, like those like the Animatrix and the Batman.
Yeah. A Jason Animatrix would
A
fucking
Freddy
rock hard.
versus
He's like
Jason
a
Animatrix.
Jason's like a samurai during this sequence, but he's from Ninja Scroll specifically.
Oh, fuck yeah, so good.
Now I want that. Somebody fucking make that. Make a horror Jason versus Freddy that it looks like Ninja Scroll. Yeah. So they escape in a van, and it's like it's like a twisted Scooby Squad. And I like the line, that goalie is pissed about something. Thought that was fun.
Yeah. I actually, when he said that, I started giggling. And I was watching this with Danny, and I couldn't stop. And Danny was like, "What? What's funny?" And I'm like, "I'm still laughing about him saying, man, that goalie was pissed about something." It's so funny. Like, it's such a funny thing to say.
And we get a huge reveal towards the end of this where Will reveals that he actually saw the dad, Laurie's dad, kill the mom, which there's a twist to that later.
Yeah, and then Laurie's dad shows up and chokes
Right
him
then.
out. Like on the hood of the car, like for way too, he's like trying to explain himself, but also choking somebody,
like killing this man.
Not the best way to have a conversation, sir.
But Laurie confronts her dad
from the illogical parent syndrome of these movies that, I mean, made these movies what they are. I think it's like you can't have it really, because like if he just told them what was going on in that moment, then everybody would have just started taking Hypnosil and be like, now we just got to deal with Jason. It would have became a Jason movie. Yeah,
you have to take Venom from Batman.
Everybody take a nap. We'll come at this fresh in the morning. This Jason Voorhees situation.
Yeah. Laurie confronts her dad about the situation, and we find out that he does consulting at the psych ward. She runs out of there, and Will grab, as she's running around a corner, Will grabs her. We get a little bit of a jump scare for that, and they continue the adventure. They head to Mark. Mark gets Freddied, tries to take a pill. He's trying to like take stay awake pills, but Freddy's already there. His brother.
This is probably the scariest moment in the movie, in my opinion.
It's fucked
because it's like it almost feels like it has like inspirations from The Shining, and the way it's filmed, like the bathroom is unnaturally large.
I noticed that when he walks in, it's too big, and then there's that great moment where he shows both of his wrists, and it's clearly Freddy speaking through him with blood spraying everywhere. What a cool moment.
It's also it's visually disturbing because like,
bathrooms don't look like that.
This is like right around the time where like people started really clarifying how to kill yourself properly if you want to slit your wrists. Like I remember like there was like movies that would deal with it, and then there was movies that like would tell you exactly how to do it. This movie is not telling you how to do it, but you can visually see that he like cut his wrist like all the way down, and it's like it's really gross and disturbing, but also it has that it quality of when I say it quality, I mean like the character It from the movie It, or the book series It, where it's performative, and like Freddy Krueger is a very performative maniac from hell or whatever, but it has that scary level of he's not just trying to scare you, he's using what he knows about you to scare you. Which is like Freddy would only know this because Freddy probably did this to him, right? Like,
but what is this moment where he uses like wires coming out of the ground on Mark, and then just like a
that part I'm like, I don't know.
Was that just performative, or was that like the director being like, let's just do a cool visual?
What
'Cause
if
this movie has some cool
Bugs?
visuals
What
that
if
are just
Bugs
there
go
for
through
the
his
sake of
feet to
it.
lock him in place?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it. Maybe that's another holdover from like the script was fucking 200 pages long, and they're like, and then like the bugs, like he saw his brother getting eaten by like weird furry maggots or something. Who knows? I don't know, but I am right there with you. I was also like, what? Is that just one of those things? Like Freddy was like, what'd be scary?
Snakes,
Furry
bitch.
worms going through your feet. That's pretty crazy.
I do like that they did the like.
Do you think that
the
Freddy
side-
like sits there and he's like tapping his chin with his knife finger and he's like, "What is freaky? What is a freaky thing I could do here?
pile of snakes.
Yeah, snakes are scary. Worms,
Snakes.
scary. What about a spiky worm? No. What about a spiky worm that held you in place through your feet? That's pretty cool.
And it hurts.
I'll do that.
You can feel it.
But first, I'm going to show him his suicidal brother. That'll really fuck with him. It is true that like that's not scary. The thing through the feet is not scary. It's kind of like weird and it's just to hold him in place. But like, I almost feel like just hands coming up would be more frightening. Like holding him there or something.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe
I did like that they used the like
bleeding all over the floor.
I do like that they used the turned room effect that they use in other Freddy's. Like
I think that every time they're doing a Freddy effect in terms of like a dream moment, it absolutely works. They're pulling from the visual tricks that they used in the early movies. They don't do like the room spin or anything crazy like that. They're not trying to take from other movies, right? Because like imagine they did that and it ruled, right? And it was like the best one they ever did. Then it almost like diminishes the first movie and New Nightmare, which both do it really, really well. But imagine they did it really badly. I feel like this must have been a conversation, right? Like, what if we do that? And it's like, well, like those movies both did it really well, and it made sense for the character that it was happening to. Are we gonna just do this? Because like in both those moments, there's something extremely desperate about them, and there's something very rapey about them, and very like scary and gross because of the character it's happening to. If we did it to this guy, is it going to be as effective, or are we just doing it to do it? Which I'm not saying that foot worms is better. I'm just saying that it's an option. We got foot worms in the chamber, so maybe let's just do that.
I do. Speaking of that, I do like this next moment because they show up to witness Mark like get lit on fire and stabbed in the face and slashed. But the final thing we see for the scene is Freddy burns Freddy's back into Mark's back, and that's like that's like an ad break almost. Like we're here, buddy. Freddy's here. Freddy's fucking
here. Don't worry, here comes Act 2 right around the corner.
Also, does it mean that it's like he owns the back, or is it that he is back?
Like both.
This is my back. He claimed it.
It's my back. I thought about that immediately after. At first, I was like, "Oh, Freddy's back," and I was like, "Wait, did he just prison style claim this man?"
I will say though that like maybe the best CGI effect in the entire movie is when he comes up to the window and then gets pulled down to the window and then comes up to the window again, and then the slash is across his face. Like it looks good. Like
it looks good. Yeah.
I assume that's a digital effect, but it looks it's effective. It made me go, ooh, he's dead. He's not coming back. He's not escaping this bathroom. He's done for.
He also like kind of falls down right in front of them, and then it's revealed that it's burnt onto his back. Steve, why don't you take us through this next moment that we talked about a little bit, but the police chief and the other guy interacting with each other to both have very different views of who the killers are. I'll be back in a second.
The police chief and the other guy. What is it?
Remember there's the new cop to town and he doesn't know anything about Freddy. Is that his name?
Yeah, his name is Deputy Stubbs, played by how do you say this name? Lincoln?
Lachlan
Monroe. He's also a Canadian actor, I believe, and he's
I think
also
so.
in Scary Movie, and he's going to be in the new
Yeah,
Scary
from
Movie.
Vancouver.
He was also in Peacemaker season 2 recently.
All right. And White Chicks.
He was one of the white chicks.
And A Night at the Roxbury as a character named Craig.
Oh, wow. How do you feel about that?
I just
Greg?
learned. Well, I just learned about it now. Actually, that's not true. I've seen Night at the Roxbury a number of times.
I think you're forgetting about his greatest role when he was. Remember that movie with Mark Paul Gosselaar, where if their roommate dies, they fucking get to have tuition for free. He's the guy who says, "I just want to hump this lamp," and fucking humps the lamp. This guy, what did you say? Lachlan Monroe has been in. How many credits does he have? One of you has his IMDb pulled up. Is it 200?
Sure, man. He's
286.
Yeah, I was going to say 300. In fact, he's been around.
Well, he's got 14 upcoming, which will put him at an even 300.
I just looked it up. He's not in 300. What are you guys talking about? I always enjoy this guy. I always enjoy this guy. I think he's like one of those people that's like, he's like interesting in terms of his face. Like he's just like a guy. He's like a blockhead actor man where you're like, put him in stuff.
But lovable.
Yeah.
I'd like to know how many movies he's been in that we've covered on this very program, because it's probably a few.
But I mean, we did mention Peacemaker season 2 earlier, and he wasn't that.
He's in, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, he goes to the sheriff, and the sheriff is like,
"We deal with it silently. We're not calling the FBI."
And he's like, "Well, I think that we need to call the FBI because I think that this might actually be a copycat killer of the old Crystal Lake murders, the Jason Voorhees things." And he's like,
"Never heard of it."
And he's like,
"Yeah, well, what are you talking about,
man? He killed people in Manhattan." And he basically like shrugs him off, smoking a cigar, but he's like,
no outsiders
are allowed. And if you bring it up again, he says, I think he says he'll lock
send him to jail. Yeah, he's gonna lock him up. Yeah.
I'll lock you up for being crazy.
By the way, Lachlan Monroe also in Dracula 2000, which I've done with you guys.
Nope.
I believe. Nope. Did I do that on somebody else's podcast? I feel like I did Dracula 2000 on a podcast. I don't know how many podcasts.
We've never done Dracula 2000 on this, but we've done Dracula 999, and we're going to do 1000 next, and then maybe we'll get to that one.
Only 1,000 more sequels.
It's our new grimoire where we go through all the Draculas. We're on Dracula 8 actually.
So
I swear
anyway,
podcast. I'm sorry.
He says, do I sound choppy right now? Because you guys both sound choppy to me.
No,
you sound good to me.
Everything sounds fine to me.
Okay. Just want to make sure that I don't sound bad. So he is like, what the hell is going on in this town? Everybody's got Freddy fever, and I need to figure out what's going on. So he leaves, and
you sound fine on the feed too, B2 Dubs.
Okay. And he leaves, but he tracks them down, basically, right? Is there anything big that happens in this sequence? I don't know why Jason wanted me to focus on it so hard.
No, I needed a second to step away, but also I liked this because it really is that moment of like, one person is so fucking focused on Freddy, and one person's like, but there's this other fucking killer. How close are Elm Street and Crystal Lake to each other?
Distance.
Yeah, like short drive, like an hour.
But also,
okay, so I feel like Crystal Lake is in New Jersey, I believe we discover in one of the earlier Jason movies. Am I wrong about that?
This is the thing though. This falls under the who gives a shit umbrella.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is
Fine.
Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger. I know this is supposed to be the same house from the first movie, but Freddy Krueger in which one is it? Is it the baby one with the baby? Where he like brings up an Elm Street sign.
Every town has an Elm Street.
No, it's Freddy's dead.
Freddy's dead, right?
Yeah.
So that's his whole thing, is that he doesn't give a shit. There's no borders for Freddy, but it's within driving distance where they drove there within the same night in this movie. So like maybe 2-hour drive. It's like Northern Ontario for us. It's like we got to get to. There's actually a string of lakes called the Crystal Lakes in Ontario.
We should go camping though.
Yeah, we should. Or we should just start a whole a summer camp there.
You
And
might
we'll-
get
yeah,
attacked
let's
by a
start- yeah.
Wolverine, though. Realistically,
We'll probably be murdered before we finish construction. Bing, ding, ding, ding.
bitch.
Save your
Ding,
tears.
ding, ding,
It's
ding, ding,
okay
ding,
to
ding, ding,
hurt
ding,
suffering.
ding.
That's a Hellraiser line.
Yeah, and I did Halloween.
Yeah, we did them all. We got them all.
Chucky.
Chucky's here.
Should I?
So
know
he
the
shows
story?
up in the basement,
Yeah, okay.
and it's pretty funny because they're all smoking weed, or not? They're not all smoking weed, but the guy who smokes
The
weed is
stoner
smoking
is,
weed.
yeah.
And the cop shows up, and he immediately like palms all his weed, and he's like, "Oh shit, man, what the fuck?" And you're like, "Okay."
I like that when he walks
Jason
in, they're
Mewes insert.
they're continuing to discuss the rules. I really love that this movie constantly hits us with, and not in like a bad way. Here are the rules, because this is the catch up. In 90 minutes, you have to really condense what the rules are for both of these slashers are, but they keep saying more things about Freddy in just little increments, and I like that in this moment they're really just still discussing the rules of Freddy.
The thing is about this deputy,
And they can't run away because they're all afraid. That was the point.
Yeah. The more I watch this movie, and the more I'm discussing it in this conversation, the more I wish that it was Tommy Jarvis. Like,
yeah,
imagine he became a deputy. He'd be like bordering on 40 probably at this point in the Voorhees verse, and he'd be like, "Did you ever consider the fact that it might be Jason Voorhees?" And they're like, "Who?" And he's like, "The Crystal Lake Killer. It could have been him." And they're like,
Well,
"Weren't you in a psychiatric hospital for a while, Jarvis?"
What's happening in this scene too is when they start to talk about like Jason, like who is that fucking other guy? That's when Stubbs shows up, and they figure out that Jason brought back Freddy to freak out the kids.
Well, that's what I mean.
But
is,
now
like,
Freddy can't stop Jason. So there's this really unique.
There's a
thing
couple
happening.
of redundancies in this movie because Freddy is sort of like, he's I don't want to say the voice of he's more the Irving the Explainer, where he's basically telling us what's going on a lot of the time, and these kids are doing the same thing. So you're getting a lot of redundant information, but I think that there was also that sort of stigmatization of like, kids are dumb, we got to keep hammering into their head like what's happening, so like they know exactly what's happening, which is maybe why I like this movie, because like it's so clear that like I never am confused. Like there's even like do you want to get that pink shit shot in your ass again, have Gopher's night time, and then we see him get shot with the pink shit, and then later on Jason Mewes' character is fucking takes all the pink shit into the syringes. You're like, they set it up enough that you're like, you're never confused about anything that's happening because it's all so clearly laid out for you. I do just wish that like that moment of him coming out of the shadows, and then everybody being like, who the fuck is this cop down here? And he's like, "You left your fucking keys in your door, you idiot." But if that was Tommy Jarvis, like how cool that would be as like a Jason fan, like you'd be so excited. But I mean, it's fine that it's him, and it's also makes it a lot easier when he dies, right? If it was Tommy Jarvis and he went out the way that this guy goes out, like nobody would accept that. They'd be like, he's got to come back like half fried face at the end or something, like with a shotgun. Like
in the complete inverse of what you're saying, though, Steven, like this is when Laurie does say the thing. She's like, Freddy died by fire and Jason died by water. How do we use that? Which I like.
We just need to find two people who have died by earth and by wind.
Yeah, and heart. Who died by heart?
By your powers combined, I am Captain Hellraiser.
That's how it happens. We have to find all the villains that combine to make Hellraiser. So they're going to offer Freddy the Virgin. Lieberman apparently paid for it. And Laurie fell asleep. Yep. So in this moment, this is really interesting.
In this moment, we learned that Linderman paid for a hooker one time at some point.
He did not, because Laura's already asleep. Him saying that was part of her dream. Then them trying to offer up a virgin is part of her dream, and then Kia being like, "Maybe you just need to fuck me because I'll fuck you." All of that was in the dream, obviously.
Wait, you think all of it was the dream?
All of it. I think
You
from
think
when
the
he
entire
says,
virgin talk was dream?
Yes, I think
Okay.
right from them being like, we have to sacrifice a virgin, and them having that conversation is part of it.
That's a good
And
call.
then-
That's a good call.
yeah.
I never really thought about that. Because it is difficult.
Why would they start talking like that? That's all Freddy. That's Freddy's fucking mythos. It's
That's true.
pathos.
None of them
Yeah,
would
no,
be
I'm
like,
pretty sure there's a moment. I'm pretty sure, like, if you watch her on the couch, there's a moment where she just like nods, just like a little bit.
Yeah,
you can tell, like,
yeah.
that's where it
Because
is.
she sinks down into the couch too when she's after she says that stupid line. She's like,
How do we use that? Use that. Use that. Use that.
Bitch. Yeah, Freddy's gross during this. If he fucking makes her dad kiss her, and
Ugh.
they're gonna like
it's
tie
so
her
gross
up.
to see a dad try to French kiss a daughter. It's like one of the
It's
scariest, grossest things. That's
So
more
fucking bad.
horrifying than I think even the bathtub is still scarier, but that is just the grossest. Where you're like, ugh, but you know, like Freddy loves licking stuff, right? Like that.
It's true.
He loves
Yeah,
tongues.
he
and
does
shit.
love looking stuff.
Yeah.
He turns the
But,
phone into just like
Remember when
extension
you
of
at the
his tongue.
beginning when he's like, they were my children. He's like,
Yeah.
licks the back of that photograph. You're like, ugh, is that how people used to stick photographs in albums? Were they
Yep.
lickable on the back? What the heck?
No, the albums were sticky. Come on.
Yeah.
I do like the reveal here that Lori is basically a dream warrior, because when they come to,
Yeah.
when she's freaking out, she grabs his ear and pulls it into reality and drops it, turns into maggots. That's a classic
Me and
moment.
Danny, we were watching it and like we both laughed because like she rips the ear off and they're all like, oh, and she drops it and like it falls on the ground and they're all like, oh, and then it turns into maggots and they're all like, ah! Like they're like way more freaked out by it turning into maggots than the fact that she just has a severed ear in her hand. I also forgot to mention it earlier when she's walking through the police station at the beginning and she's like, I can't remember his name. We had this bit that we kept going with where we kept making up names. Like we're like, was it Frankie Pubert? What was his name? Like just try to remember.
Samsonite. I was way off.
It's Gorbo the Destructor.
Yeah.
They explore the idea of hypnosil. It makes you not dream. So they go back to Weston Hills, and we hear the Jason, which I thought was a great little underline. The stoner guy, Jason Mewes' character, he hangs back to get stoned because he fucking cannot go 10 seconds. Yes.
Jay and Silent Bob, yeah.
And also stoners in every movie. Like, from my point of view as somebody that smokes weed, if I was in a situation like this, the last thing I would ever want to do was enhance my fear.
No. Drink water.
Smoking marijuana.
Drinking water and coffee only, yeah.
Yeah. He hangs back to Blaze like a moron. Jason squishes a guard with the door, which I thought was great. When the door falls over, did you notice that there were 5 massive fucking fist dents in the door, which was awesome.
I thought it was crazy that like, the door is just like and he's like getting closer to it, like, and I'm like, get away! Don't you see that someone's gonna break that door? You can't get closer to it. He got so close that the door squished him. That's how close that guy got. Another massive Jason ripped the door off and then put it on top of him and stomped on it. He got crushed because he got way too close to that door. What do you think he did? Do you think he got up to it and he was like, "Hey, who's doing that? Stop!" Like, what was he doing?
I think what you're saying is what happened, but when the door fell on him, his arm was outside and just like let off the bullet that they all hit.
Yeah, of course. What I'm saying, I think you're right. Why the fuck would you get that close to a door that's being like, it looks like it's being shot by a tank? Like
also, do you think it was here's my conspiracy theory. The security guard looked like Kane Hodder. I don't know if you watched that.
Yeah. No.
I did know.
He looked very much like a deflated.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that, like, you know, we get the Robert Shea principal being like, what's going on out here? Like, why not have everybody? You know, have Brad Dourif show up for like, and even what's his name, Douglas
Hellraiser. Yeah, Douglas is whatever.
Douglas Hellraiser.
Bradley Douglas.
Doug Bradley.
Douglas
Hellraiser.
Yeah, Douglas Bradley is the guy from Heaven. He's the Heaven
Yeah.
Raiser.
The Heaven Raiser.
He's
There's
like, give
the
me
new
your
sequel."
tears. It's worth a lot up here.
And then they just show us a fucking biblically accurate fucking
Ding,
angel.
ding, 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 ding. I'm
I wanna
made of
see-
eyeballs.
The funny thing with the Hellraiser series is like Pinhead's like he's so like inconsequential to the
Have
rest
you-
of all of the movies.
Have you seen the new one yet, Jason, or no?
Yeah.
Remember at the end
Yeah.
when the guy gets turned into the
Heaven Raiser.
Yeah, he's like a Heaven Raiser.
Yeah.
It's
wanna
not
see a
he's
bib-
in hell though. He's still in hell.
But he's like, as he's dying, he's
I
like,
think that the message of that is that like if you become one
He's
of them,
released.
it's torture. No, it's torturous no matter what you become. If you become
Yeah.
if you become a hell priest or a heaven angel, you're going to be in pain
Heaven Raiser.
forever.
I would like to think in heaven there's no need for razors because shaving is hell to me. There's my dad joke of the night.
Ding, 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 ding. I
ding,
hate
ding, ding, ding. So they explore the hypnosil, makes you not dream. They go back. I already said all this. Stone hangs back, blazes like moron, squished like a bug. The kids end up in that room with all of the people hooked up to machines. So they read a
Oh, yeah.
report that's
Yeah.
like they took too much hypnosil and it put them in comas, but they also have giant blue tubes into their mouths that are
They're breathing
it's like
to
the Matrix.
Yeah,
It's like the
It's-
Matrix.
yeah, but
of,
they're
like,
blue. Like they're being fed
It's
blue
crazy.
too.
they're
It's
being fed blue. It's blue. Those tubes are blue.
There's an episode of It's Always Sunny where Frank just wants to eat blue things because he thinks that's the
yeah.
healthiest color.
It's the healthiest.
That's
color.
all I can think about.
It's got the antioxidant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that. Okay. Well, I had a theory about this, but it's not as funny as what's going on here. So we can move on.
Right. So Laurie's dad is all over this shit.
Yeah, he's all over the papers. I think we already established that he couldn't have been. He's too old to be one of the kids from the Elm Street. He was probably one of the adults that had to deal with the aftermath and has been trying to deal with it his entire career as a psychologist. She's like, I thought you were a general practitioner. He's like, well, I generally practition on people who have crazy dreams where a knife finger man go at you. What do you mean?
Gaming Geek Net is right. Like, how is this movie 22 years old? It feels pretty. I was saying earlier, it's ahead of its time. I think.
I think that this movie looks, feels, and acts like a younger movie.
Well, okay.
So it's a millennial, is what I'm
It's
saying.
we're all millennials here, except for old Freddie Webster.
Yeah, I'm Gen X, but barely.
Just barely.
You're Gen X the way that I'm a millennial, though. You know, we're both around that weird precipice. So
Yeah, well, you know how it works in this realm. I had a thing to say about the hypnosil stuff, but I don't remember. So let's move on.
a CGI Freddy caterpillar comes in and
Yeah.
smokes him up. Are we? Is that what you
Yes.
wanted to talk about next?
Yeah, he
this is
smokes weed
Freddy's
and he
total
has the
film
most like high face that he does like the you know when your like face is just like this is movie high. Have you ever met somebody who does a face like that when they smoke weed? I don't think I
Not
have.
since literally high school. So the same kind of person that's like 420, man.
Yeah.
It's like the funny high face, but also they did something to his eyes that made his eyes look very red, which I was like, good job, movie. He looks high as fuck.
They just stab him in the eye with like their fingers. They're just like, okay,
Yeah.
good, go.
Yeah, Ronnie Yu came up and just like flicked him twice with his middle finger, like okay, act. He's like, oh god damn,
Three Stooges.
yeah,
Yeah,
boink.
that's actually the scariest thing that I've ever heard.
He's like, fuck, marry, kill, boink, 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 boink. Just like jabbed him in the eyes like several times. And then they do an Alice in Wonderland thing, which is whatever. Like I remember as like a I don't know 12-year-old or whenever I watched this, I was like, that's cool. It's like Alice in Wonderland because he's smoking the hookah and then he blows in his face and now he's high.
But he's
But
also possessed. It possesses him.
that's the thing is that he lures him into another room and then he does Freddy fuck where he fucks with his brain and then he does what we all know Freddy is capable of doing, which is possess people. He's done this before in other movies. This is one of the other things that I think this movie is really great about in terms of Freddy lore, is that he never breaks Freddy lore. He only utilizes the lore that we're already familiar with from every single other Freddy movie. So I guarantee you the writers were like, can he do this? Has he ever done this before? And they're like, yeah. It's like, all right, well then he can do it. He's allowed.
Was this a direct reference to Freddy 2? Because that's the most like possession-y movie.
That is the most possession-y movie, you're right. But I think that, yeah, we know that he can possess people. Has he possessed people beyond Freddy 2? I believe
he does it a bit in 3, I think. Kind of.
The classroom scene is very like reality, and you know what I mean? Like
the town, yeah, when they're all like weird and yeah. Anyway, he can possess people, and I like that they show the possession happening in such a like an intense way. I hate the CGI caterpillar. I think it looks like shit. But I like that it
looks that bad to me, honestly. Like I usually dog CGI, but that I was like, it's a cartoon, but in the context of the reality that's happening, I was kind of fine with it.
I'll restate.
And also,
once
I clued in to what was happening, I was like,
it looks like shit, and I hate it, but I don't care. I like that it's there.
Also, that
I would have preferred like a puppet. Imagine they made like a weird Jim Henson style puppet. That would have been so. They spent like another fucking $2 million on just like a crazy like.
They could have just taken that worm from the beginning of Labyrinth. The worm,
like Frank Oz shows up on set, and he's like. Anyway, the worm goes inside his mouth, and then he turns into like 10 times hotter at this point. I'm like, whoa, this guy's hot now.
Like, you just like guys with dark circles under their eyes doing the Kubrick stare, I think.
That's true, yeah.
Oh yeah, the Kubrick stare.
He went into full Jack Nicholson mode, and I was like, dang, this guy's hot.
He's also using him to like pour out the hypnosil.
Well, that's why I think he possessed them. His whole purpose was to get rid of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he's zonked out. He's pouring the pills. Jason shows up during that sequence, and there's a funny moment where they're all in that like control room, and Jason comes in and just like smashes and gets electrocuted. And that's the thing about Jason. Like Jason, the thing you have to do with Jason is like hold him in place and
trick him
away.
into doing something stupid.
Exactly. And they do this a couple times during this whole sequence. First he gets electrocuted, but he ends up grabbing Stubbs and he gets electrocuted, and then we see him all fucking mangled.
It's one of those kills where you're like, oh no. It's like Mace Windu in episode 2 or episode 3 when he's getting electrocuted. You're like, save him, and then it's like, oh, they can't. They're trying, but they can't.
Out a window.
And then, but then he smashes him into the controls and then throws him through a door later, which is crazy. But I like that as like a Jason kill. It's kind of an interesting Jason kill, which you haven't really seen before. Him being fully electrocuted, and he just grabs a guy who's a little bit too close. Like
he's relentless to be killing people all the time. So that makes perfect sense for the Jason pathos. I need to always be killing. So I'm being electrocuted, unfazed. Well, phased, but I just grab somebody and fucking fry them.
Man.
It's fried.
I'm telling you right now, this movie has cool kills.
Yeah.
Not a lot of them, but it has cool. Like, this is a cool kill. This is like a kill you haven't seen in a Jason movie before. Him being electrocuted and he just grabs somebody by their lapels and shocks them to death.
We've watched a lot of Nightmare on Elm Streets on this show and Friday the 13th, where the kills are they're too few and far between. And then they're not that interesting. At least this one has a little bit more of the few and far between, but they're interesting to look at, to like think about. And
I will say though that like about this movie, I really don't. Besides the bed fold, like I don't think there's not a single other one that sticks in my head where I'm like top 10 Jason kills.
Bed fold is iconic.
No. I did really like the guy getting cut in half. I know I brought that one up before.
I like that too, but that's a thing that I remember from this movie for sure. But like almost every other kill, I don't really remember.
Sure. I mean, definitely not top 10.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I do like this moment where it's also it's doing the setup payoff thing that I was talking about earlier, where he dumps all the hypnosil, which is the whole purpose of him possessing him, is just like, we need to make sure that none of them can fall asleep and forget me. I'm here because I need to be alive. And then he goes into, I guess that he has residual knowledge somehow of this place because they're all here, maybe because he's closer. He can like sense the pink stuff.
Yeah.
Is the only reason that I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm trying to like logically make sense as to why he would know about the pink stuff.
Also,
But-
the stoner's name is Friedberg. I have that here. What a funny name for a
Yeah.
stoner.
If you yell his name, he has to play the entirety of Friedberg down this street. He grabs the pink stuff, which I do like that they like do this thing where they, as he's filling it, the thing drops into frame and like this sort of like macro lens thing where it shows you that you need to dilute it by like 1/1000th of like a percentage for a normal person. So like they have this goo basically that knocks you out, but they're giving it to Jason at its like 100% strength or whatever, which is pretty crazy. I also don't understand how it works on Jason, but like this is one of those moments in the movie where I'm like, I just can't care because if I think about it too much, it's not going to make sense. Because he's not alive; he's a zombie.
There's
like,
so many movies, like that put it up contradictions to like everything that happens in this movie. You just have to go with the flow.
But if you use 2 million cc's of the most unconcentrated,
maybe it could knock
sleeping
a zombie
goo,
out,
yeah, maybe. And if you keep feeding it to him while he's chained up, maybe it'll work.
I think for me, it's the coolness of this. Like, I think it's very cool. Like, there's a moment where Freddy works with them because, like, there's no other moment in the movie where Freddy ever works with them. But at this moment, Freddy is working with them specifically to knock Jason out because it's to his own design. So he's not trying to kill them. He's like, I'm gonna do this thing, and you guys can. I'll get you later. Like,
Just run as fast as you can because I'm coming.
and then like they even do like the specific because we all knew we saw him fill those things up. We saw him with his hands behind his back. We know as the audience at that point. They don't need to specifically show us, but the music and the way that they handled the camera work and even like the acting where she turns around, she's like, "Look."
Yeah. But also, I like
he has them crossed behind his back. You're like,
I like
whoa,
him-
this is an anime. It's turning into an anime again.
Exactly. I like as they run by in Freddy's voice through his lips. He goes, "Let me handle this, bitch." That was like
cool.
chills. And they realize that he has the drugs, but as Jason just walks through and fucking chops him in half. After, of course, he gets the things in
Yeah,
his
it's
neck.
cool that he jumps up and he like plunges them both into his neck, and then Jason Voorhees just does what he does, which is just slash. But even Jason wasn't because like I don't think other than maybe the guy in Manhattan when he tries to box him on that roof.
I don't know yet. I won't know.
Oh shit! I forgot you haven't seen that one. Okay,
that's fine.
I'm trying to think of like any time that someone's trying to go toe to toe with Jason. Like, and whatever happened, it's usually bad. If someone tries to fight Jason, they usually die. But in this case, it's like he didn't fail. He succeeded in exactly what he was trying to do.
Yeah. So Jason goes back into the dream world, and his mom is immediately taunting him. And ding, ding, ding. They start fighting in the dream world. Jason chops his arms off, and they regrow. They do the pinball segment. That was
Jason,
pretty
did
fun.
you ever see like the actual sort of like boxing intro that they did for this movie that came out?
No.
Like, so when this movie came out, when they do like a weigh-in, like they have to weigh.
Oh, yep.
They did like an actual one, and like Robert Englund was in like the makeup and everything, and they had the actor playing Jason. They had to like come up and like there was a part where they like almost like scuffled like on the stage. It was like a very performative thing. Oh, the police are here. They know about my crimes.
They know about your podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd play it, but it's like 20 minutes long.
Yeah, we don't need to play it.
I guess there's a 3. Oh, that's a Facebook video. Yeah.
I'm just saying you should watch it. Anyway, it's like they do like the same thing that you do with like wrestling and stuff, right? Like they came up and they did it, and it was funny. It was like a promotional gag, but it's it's kind of like exactly what this movie was meant to be, right? Like if they were to do that with Alien versus Predator, it wouldn't hit the same way. But Jason versus Freddy, it's like there's almost a little bit more believability there, where it's like, oh, they're magic, so they could just show up in our world for a second. Whereas like Alien versus Predator, it's a little too grounded. Anyway, so they kill the guy, he gets sliced in half, and Jason falls asleep, and somehow they get him into the van. I
found a 1-minute version. I think I want to play it. Try this out.
I mean, I could be talking still while you're saying.
Yeah.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, to my left, his opponent. Over 1,200 kills, 10 times resurrected, and he's got one mean machete.
10 times resurrected.
12. He said 1,200 kills. That can't be right.
I mean, he killed everybody in Jason X. Whole planet.
That's true.
Please. Backer, please.
Oh.
You're stupid, and you're all washed up.
You're all washed up.
The big pull apart is crazy.
Freddy Krueger. Jason Voorhees, 275 pounds.
I wasn't too far off. I said 325 pounds, but he's 275.
That's pretty. That's like a whole human.
Yeah.
You're all washed up. Freddy Krueger, funny. Did I tell you about when I met Robert Englund? It was like the craziest, funniest moment of my life.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't think so.
I was at Comic-Con and I was eating pizza and I was sitting down in a hallway because there was too many people on the chairs and stuff, and I have pretty bad like crowd anxiety, so I'm like, I gotta get away and eat this. So I was sitting there with like two of my friends who were eating pizza, and then this guy was walking down. We were just talking to each other, not really looking up, and then this person kicked my foot and like pretended to trip like crazy. Like, when he went, oh, and he like turned around and he was like, you better watch where you keep those feet. And I looked up and it was fucking Robert Englund, and I was like, oh my god, I'm sorry. And he went, and he just like did one of these, and then he walked away, and I was like, oh my god.
That's probably the best way you could possibly meet any celebrity, I would say.
Yeah.
We didn't even have a conversation. I wish that he sat down with us and ate pizza.
Well, luckily at this moment, Freddy just drops like a vat directly on to Jason in the dreamscape, and water is Jason's weakness, so we are reiterated with that.
This is also when Freddy's like, I can't kill him. What the fuck? Yeah. Like, I'm trying to kill him. Even in his dream world, I can't. Because, like, usually that's his way to get around having to kill people in the real world, is just, like, brutalize their mind, right? Like, if I kill their mind, then they'll be dead in the real world. But, like, he can't do it.
Well, we see kind of the worst, like, moment here where in the real world they have Jason tied up and they're heading to Crystal Lake. And then in the dream, Freddy goes into Jason's mind. That's some cool imagery as well that we see. They trank Lori. She goes in the dreamverse, sees Jason being fucked with. But the worst thing in this whole movie is when Jason is like convulsing and water's coming out of his mouth because he's being drowned in the world, and the Kia has to do like mouth to mouth resuscitation.
I think this whole sequence of conversation is extremely funny. It's so like, it is maybe the funniest moment in the whole movie, which is like, he's like, what am I supposed to do? Give him mouth to mouth? And then he looks at her and he's like,
I've got asthma.
And he's like, I would do it, but I've had asthma since I was 6 years old. And then they both looked at the driver and he's like, Kia, he's got asthma. Like, but
they look to him to decide.
To Jason Ritter's credit, he presents that line in a way that is like so realistic. Like, he's like, he literally can't do it. Like, but also every time she tries to lift the mask up slightly, the actor like is like like he's like spitting
water.
Yeah, it's So good.
Yeah, that's probably the scene they laughed at the most as they were trying to film it. They
Yeah,
had the most outtakes
Probably.
for sure.
That guy with the water in his mouth was probably just the direction was probably like anytime you feel the mask slightly too high up, just
Spit water.
Just
Yeah.
spit water. Yeah.
Also in the dream too, we get like a recap of like how Jason died in the first place. The kids are chasing him into the water, and the counselors are having sex. But then when Laurie goes up to be like, everybody needs to stop and look at what's happening in the water, Freddy's like, ha ha ha, I'm having sex with this counselor, and also she's dead. And he has some line about that.
She's dead on her feet.
She's dead on her feet. Yeah,
And he's,
thank
like,
you.
waving her hand. But I do think that I like the fact they show us Camp Crystal Lake when it was in its prime. I do like
in the
fact
50s.
this, because I don't think that we've ever seen this before, like Jason Voorhees as a counselor. I don't think that ever happened, right? This
There's
also feels very anime to me, like a weird sort of like a flashback where it's like it's over the top, right? Every single camp counselor is like fucking and smoking weed, and every single
they
camper,
do that in
every single camper is like tormenting this kid. Like as he's running, every camper is like, kill him.
It's the campers in Jason X, if I'm not mistaken. There's like there's like a way more sarcastic version of this sequence in that movie where isn't, or was I thinking of this the whole time? Because this, when I watched this originally, it affected me, but when I'm watching it this time, I was like, it seems way less in like tense.
In Jason X, there's a sequence where they have like a holodeck from Star Trek, basically, and they basically create a Friday the 13th movie set for him to exist on to distract him. So they make like, we love premarital sex. Like they
that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Let's smoke weed. And then they cut back. I know we're not talking about that movie, but he's just got one in the sleeping bag and is just bashing it against the tree
over and over.
Okay. That's one of my favorite Jason kills, even though it wasn't a real person.
We'll talk about that. Like I said, 1 year from now. But Jason wakes up, the gun goes off, they crash, the van crashes. They can't wake Laurie up. Freddy does that cool jump out of the water thing.
Yeah,
and we see
again another anime style. Like, is this not an anime thing? Like,
that part was awesome.
No, Steve, I'm fully on board with your evaluation that this movie is a bit of like, we had to do anime with Freddy versus Jason.
But I think it's also like,
because the reveal of his face, like way more pointy.
And
his
like,
eyes are crazy. Yeah,
he looks like a monster. Yeah, he looks like a demon. And I, like, this might be a little bit of me just being like, this guy, like his previous works, but also just like his sensibilities, where it's like, why the fuck not? Like, make it monstrous and make it cartoonish and make it like basically like a stylized version of what we already know. And I think it works in every way. Like, I don't think that anything that is being done in this movie is detrimental to either franchise. I think it only strengthens things. And I think that like the fact that we don't get to see either of these characters in the same way ever again is sad, but at the same time, I think it's a good send off. So that might be a little bit of my final thoughts creeping in, but like at the same time, I'm just like, I fucking love this movie. I think it's so good.
Well, Laurie at this point is transported to the night.
Hold on, though. Remember when she's like trying to save him when he's drowning, and then he pops up and she goes, "Oh!"
And she's freaked out by it.
You're like, what the fuck? You just went over to save him, and you're like, I didn't know his face was all fucked up, though. Like, she doesn't.
That was my exact reaction.
Yeah, you're like, wait, what? Why didn't you went over there to save him? You only saw his weird lumpy head. And then when he
couldn't
turned
persevere
around,
through that,
I was like, "Wah!" And she like got scared of his face, like grab him, and then she's like, "Is that you, Jason Voorhees?" And then like obviously,
but maybe once again, that was also Freddy made his face look even more fucked up than it had to be.
But we also know that like Freddy is so preoccupied with Jason at this point that he's not really paying attention to her, because like he knows she's there. She came up to like tap, and I assume that Freddy has like corporeal power within this world that he can,
of course,
he can basically, it's like his sort of groundedness here. He's real here, but he can also move like a ghost and he can also control multiple things at once, right? Like, so if like there were 3 people in a dream, he could probably fuck with all 3 of them at the same time. I think that that's what's happening, but at the same time, he's only focused on Jason, but he can still pop up and be like, she's dead on her feet. Like he probably has like an autopilot version of his brain being like,
if anybody shows up here, just use a pun or stab them.
Use a pun.
But when he's drowning, like he's specifically, that's him, that's Freddy trying to drown Jason. And then when Jason wakes up, he's like, what the fuck? And that's when he pops up and does the anime jump, which is again so fucking cool. The
Very
whole
anime.
Sky goes dark. It's like there's nothing on fire, but everything is completely red and black scale sort of thing, where it's like, it's like hardened. It's so fucking cool looking.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, she sort of prances over to the Elm Street house, but the rest of the crew gets to Camp Crystal. Classic Jason blasting through a wall, which was really funny. Did you clock that? Where they're in the house, like, and he just fucking blasts through a wall, which is a classic Jason thing to have happen.
Yeah, I also like that they like start kicking tables and stuff around to block Jason's knife, like his machete, and like it's working. Or I'm like, classic Jason. This is exactly what Jason. Rules of Jason. If you throw a table at him, his knife will probably get stuck for a second. You've got like a couple of seconds to do what you need to do. And then Freddy they can't wake her up. But he also knocks over a giant vat of fucking gasoline. It goes in slow motion. You see the gas going everywhere. You're like, okay, that's gonna come into play soon.
Freddy in his world says, "Welcome to my world, bitch," which is a very good line. Lindemann tries to be a hero and gets stabbed on the wall by like a ledge holder. I wrote a hanger, but it's not that.
I think it was it's like a shelf, like a shelf like sits on top of a thing. That's like what it is. Yeah, and that's when I knew he was dead, because I said this earlier in the episode, but like when he hits that thing and falls, I'm like, do you see how much blood is on it? It's like almost up to the wall, and that is like that's like being stabbed with a sword, basically. Like
pretty much
the back. But I also want to kind of like give a cheers to this moment of her being in the Freddy world, because I think it does the Freddy stuff properly. I don't think that it works as well as some of the stuff earlier in the movie, because it does kind of slow down the pacing. I think it maybe should have been more intense. I do believe that the end part of it is really, really effective, but the beginning part of it, I'm like, we know.
There was that really cool moment a few minutes before this where like they're holed up in the house and they look out and they see Jason do that thing where he's just walking slowly across the frame.
But also I think this moment is meant to show this is supposed to resolve the human story in this, right? Where it's like, we need to know about what's going on in this story, and it's like, but all of us watching the movie are like, we don't care. We want to see Freddy fight Jason, please. We don't care about these 2 teenagers' love life.
Kia grabs Lindemann and they duke it out. There's also Freddy in the dream world saying, "Die, you little bitch." Freddy gets out. They pull
one stunt
at that moment too.
One stunt before she gets pulled out. The one stunt that I thought was really cool that I don't think I've seen in any Freddy movie is like the stair. They're like the floor moving like a wave.
Oh yeah.
Like across the floor. And it locks her ankle, and like I think the sound design is also doing a lot of the work here, where like she's running and it's chasing her, and then it like goes around her leg, and it looks like it like encompasses her ankle, and you can just hear like this like it sounds like.
Did you also notice during this scene, somehow, even though it looked practical, I'm pretty sure it was practical, it stops at where the edge of the stairs are and keeps going, but also when it catches her, she fucking goes fully face forward into the fucking, it's like a picture or a mirror or something, and just,
even though I've seen this movie like
that was awesome
like 1,000 times, I was expecting her to run down those stairs and have like the marshmallow stairs. Remember like the the weird marshmallow stairs? Didn't happen, but that ankle snap floorboard was wild. And then it keeps cutting back between Jason Ritter trying to wake her up and then Freddy like being like,
I've always had a thing for the.
what is it? He's like the horrors in this house or something. Like he's a real piece of shit. This Freddy guy. I don't think there's any redeeming qualities about Freddy Krueger.
No,
but we do cross over into literally when she pulls him through into reality. Freddy versus Jason in reality. They fist fight in this house, drags him through all the windows of this house, which I thought was
Jason,
amazing.
you have to stay on point here. The fire lights, her hand drags through the flame.
Why don't you tell me, brother?
That's how she wakes up. Like her hand falls into the flame, and then she's like, "Ah," and they wake up. But then she's also holding Freddy, and Freddy comes in as well. And this is like one of the coolest things I think I've ever seen in like movies ever. You know, it's like Spider-Man showing up in Civil War. It's like Batman versus Superman. It's like when the alien cut the face off the predator, or the predator cut the face off the alien, or whatever. But like when Freddy Krueger does one of these, and he's like, oh fuck, he's like, oh god, and then like he realizes that he's like, I'm in the real world right now, aren't I? And like the look on Freddy Krueger's face when he realizes that he's been sucked into the real world is like one of the funniest things I think I've ever seen. Because like he also starts to like back up, he's like, oh, and you can tell he's like evaluating the situation. And then when Jason gets too close, he just starts to use crazy like Rey Mysterio Jr. moves. Like he's just using wrestling moves and kicking him in the chest and slashing him, and it's good, man. It's so good. How did you feel about that, Craig, when he got sucked into the real world and you saw his real eyes?
I love it. No, yeah, he bugged out and he was terrified, and that's when you realize that now we're in for a fair fight, right? Like that's the now we're into the real Freddy versus Jason, the final countdown. I loved it.
I do like that in this moment, like they get away because Freddy's like, oh shit, I have to deal with this, and then they start fighting, and then Freddy just kind of gets thrown around for a bit, and then like Jason was saying, he gets like pushed out a window, and then he like drags him through every window of the house, and then pulls him outside, and then throws him over to like another cabin. I guess this is like the reconstruction of Crystal Lake, because it's called like Lake Crystals or something. Like they changed the name of it to try and like rebrand. Yeah. When they arrive there, Kia, she's like, we're almost there, and like there's like a sign that says like Lake Crystals, like they're trying to like get away.
I thought this whole sequence was a lampoon, right from Jason blasting through a wall into this moment where he drags him through all of the windows of the house. It just really hit home that in every Jason movie from like 2 on, there's a moment where Jason does something fucking crazy with windows. And I thought this was just like the elevated version of that. There's a moment in one of the Friday the 13th movies where he just like throws a guy through the window, and then he blasts in through the door, like right behind it. That's what this, it's my
it's one of those moments where you think he's going to break through the door, and then someone comes through the window, and then he comes through the door. I mean, you're absolutely right, because like when he jabs his head through the window and then drags him through all those other additional windows, and then throws him from the doorstep, like get out of here, like a sort of like a get out of here from a bar almost. He falls through the other ceiling. But like also the one thing that me and Danny were both talking about was like, this motherfucker's hat is staying on. Like his hat was like on his head the whole time as he's being dragged. Like, how is his hat not falling off? And then his hat does fall off, but it falls off in a way that you're like, wait, what? Like his hat fell off in the most. You would think it would be something crazy, like Jason punching him directly in his fucking face or something. It would knock his hat off. But no, it falls off in like a dumb way. Like it goes completely upside down. He's like, oh no, gravity worked.
So after Kia gets Lindemann out of there, they have that kind of sweet moment by the tree. Lindemann tells Kia to go get help, but we watch him bleed out, and he has a really good death where he just like looks off to the distance and dies.
That's when everybody realized this guy's a good actor. Like, holy shit, this guy can be dead without being dead. That's crazy.
But the next moment Oh, what is this? The Amazing Spider-Man is here, and they want to know what is Littlefinger's favorite Anos movie.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, what's Littlefinger from Game of Thrones? What's his
Yeah.
favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie? You're the three-eyed theorist. Give the people what they want.
I'm gonna say A New Nightmare because he's trying to constantly make a new nightmare in Westeros. He's like, I would be the new nightmare. If given the power, I could create the best Westeros.
I have no feedback. I did not watch that piece of shit show.
Oh my god!
Whoa. Wow.
Don't say that.
Now we wait for the
community.
comment.
Jesus Christ!
We're gonna have comments
No,
about that.
I'm sure it's a fine show, but I did not watch Game of Thrones.
But this guy loves all the Freddy Krueger movies. I do.
We should watch the first 5 seasons of Game of Thrones and then just kind of forget that it exists.
I watched half of the first season.
Well, wait,
There's
Jason,
too
what do you
many
think
people to
that
try to memorize.
Littlefinger's favorite movie would be?
I think Littlefinger likes A New Nightmare because he wants to see what's going to happen next, and he wants
What?
something
You
new.
picked the same one as me?
Oh, I think he likes Freddy's Dead because he wants everybody
wants
to die
Freddy to
in Westeros except himself.
Except
I
for
think
me.
he likes the first one because it's the best.
Yeah, I think the second one because he's gay and he loves gay culture.
Is he gay?
Littlefinger,
A little gay, yeah. Maybe
little
a little
gay.
bit.
Not
He just-
in a bad way.
I mean, he can go into those whorehouses and be like, "No one touch me. I'm about money, baby."
Well, speaking of all of what we just said, the next sequence is literally the worst part of the movie. Where can we say at least what Freddy says?
Oh wait, when he says
how
well,
dark
don't
meat.
say it. Don't say it.
Well, you
It's
don't
so
know what
we're talking
it's so weird. I think that Kumail Nanjiani has like a very, very good bit about this joke. You know the comedian.
I know
the
who
actor?
Kumail Nanjiani is. Of course.
He says like I went to go see Freddy versus Jason, a movie that came out in 2003, and I remember being in the theater and we were watching it, and there's a moment where Freddy Krueger says, "Oh, how sweet, dark meat," to Kelly Rowland's character, and the whole audience groaned. And I thought to myself, we all can sit here and believe that the scissor-fingered man can kill everybody from hell and be a child pervert, but we draw the line at racism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As
Before
soon
we
as
get to what
racist, it's unbelievable.
Before we get to what Kelly Rowland says, here's another question from The Amazing Spider-Man. Who would Jason and Freddy declare for the War of the Five Kings? Now, this is definitely a Steve answer because I don't know. That's my official on
The War of the Five Kings
Is that another
in
Game of Thrones
Westeros is when like all the kings are fighting over the throne, like Robb Stark and Renly Baratheon and Stannis Baratheon and
I'm a little bit familiar.
Joffrey Baratheon.
Oh yeah, I know that name.
And,
Let's explore the depths of it in the video.
Anyway, everyone's fighting over the throne, and who would they? Freddy would probably make his way north and be like, "I need to discuss this with the king in the north," and Jason would just wander. You'd wander until someone
figured.
gave direction.
I think Chucky would be there. I think you could the five familiar,
Yeah,
the
Chucky
four
and,
familiar killers and Hellraiser
Chucky and
Pinhead.
Tyrion Lannister hang out. He's like, you can have as much wine as you need, but please stop killing the servants. He's like,
What can I tell you? I just love stabbing, and there's so many knives around. Jeez, you can't leave them everywhere.
anyway.
Jason is just dunk if he was the serial killer.
All right, let's
What a reference.
continue the conversation.
So anyway, Kelly Rowland says the upstart, but it's more than that. There's a situation where she's just trying to like break Freddy down, and what I really actually like this as a scene is Freddy's doing that. Like, he reminded me of like when you talk shit to somebody that knows that no matter what they're going to just like own you. He stops and he like taps his chin and he like hones in on her, and he's just kind of like, "What else you got?" And then fucking pushes her and kills her.
This is exactly how I felt about when Wiener Boy was talking to her at the beginning, right? Where it's like her reaction to
Sorry,
him
it's
was,
not even Freddy that gets her. Jason shows up behind and fucking kills her.
Oh, also interesting script moment for this is that they originally wanted to have that reversed, where she's doing that to Jason, like trying to remove the power of fear, and then she would turn around and Freddy Krueger would be like, "Wrong lore, idiot," because like like removing the fear would like, and then he would kill her. But I mean, it's a little bit. It would be weird, right? Like, I don't think it would work, but like, it does sound fun.
She also calls him gay because of the sweater he's wearing, but that sweater, in my opinion, goes pretty fucking.
She uses a full F slur, and it's very problematic and weird. But also at the same time, it's in response to racism, so it's like two evils fighting each other. It's so strange. You're like, oh my god, what am I supposed to believe here? Who's supposed to win? I kind of want them both.
Before Freddy's racism, like he pauses for a moment, like he ponders, and you know what he's gonna say, and you're just like, just don't say it, Freddy. And then he says it, and we all feel awkward. I hated that moment before he said it almost as much as
even in 2003. It's like a little bit too weird.
It was questionable.
It was a little bit much. The last time
the F slur in 2003 is insane.
No, the F slur in 2000. No, fucking. It isn't though, because it was still used forever and always. How much do you love the Hangover movies, Jason? Do you like those movies or what?
No.
Okay, well, they use that fucking word a lot in those goddamn movies.
Did they?
Yes.
Huh.
Well, Todd Phillips is a homophobe, so.
All right. Anyway, so
Tom.
All right.
Anyway, they continue fighting. We have the scene in the like. It's kind of like a quarry, but it's like a weird like grain elevator.
No, like it's a construction site. They're constructing a new Lake Crystals. It's like it's called Lake Crystals, like camping community or something. It's like they're making houses on this lake, like for people
Steve
to move into. What?
Steve, man the torpedoes.
Yeah, I do like
and
that
rebar. Apparently, I really like this sequence because after he's like figures like one shoots off one of the like
I like that it's him being
air
tossed
tank
and
shoots off.
he accidentally does it where he's like, oh, like Freddy's so dumb that he can't just figure that out on his own. He has to accidentally be like, ping!
But he starts to shoot a couple and they miss, and it just into frame comes this like giant like crate of them, and he just starts shooting them wildly, which is amazing.
Which is a Bugs Bunny thing to do. That's absolutely a Bugs Bunny move, right? Like, I think somebody told him, the director, like, he is sort of like Bugs Bunny, but he's from hell. And like, if you ever want to put like a Bugs Bunny moment in there, you can, but also make sure that it makes sense sort of to the situation. And it's like, I'm going to make a whole rack of compressed air where he can just be like, ding, 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 ding.
So
the best part about it though is that he hits him with one, like after missing him like so many times, he hits him with one, and then he hits him with another one like right away, like a double. He did like a double tap where he's like it wasn't like he hit him a couple times and he's like, I need to keep hitting him. The first time he hits him with another one and just shoots him into that quarry. Yeah, like you said, like a quarry area where there's like a lot of ramps and shit.
There's like a ramp and like it like there's a whole thing with the like Freddy tries to use
thing that moves around
a mine cart full of dirt. I thought they were gonna. So I've seen this movie before.
Well, that thing that they lift up, I think, is like for you put wet
like cement
into that, and then
so
you
did
open
you
it to like fill it up.
I know you've seen this movie a bunch of times, but this is the second time, and I forgot.
Yeah, but I don't watch this movie being like, I understand.
I know, but let me ask the question. I thought, I know what basically happens. What I thought was going to happen was with the rebars being like flown into him to hold him in place. I thought Jason was going to get coated in cement, like wet cement, and frozen and stopped for a minute and burst into cement, which I think would have been cool.
And it's not that much of a fucking cartoon where
not that much of an anime
freezes. Yeah, it's like, and then the cement froze.
But anyway,
I mean,
he tries to
I
get
guess
that
if like there
minecart
was like
ball on him.
if they had like a no, there's no way that could happen unless they had like a
Okay.
liquid nitrogen inside of like
Right.
a cask or something that ready to go. Yeah.
In the 2.5 hour version, there's the whole thing where he uses like he gets some wet cement all over him, then shoots one of those compressed airs at it, and there's a chemical reaction, and he becomes a frozen
And
Jason
David
Voorhees
Cronenberg shows up and he's like,
cement
"Holy,
man.
we've got to study this man in
But
space."
what actually happens is the cement minecart that he's trying to drop on Jason gets stuck, and he's like, "Oh, just my luck." And it falls down.
Wait! You forgot to mention the fact that when he lures him over there, he goes, "Hey, asshole!" That's his line. That's what he yells at Jason Voorhees. Hey, asshole!
But Freddy ends up falling off of that whole contraption and getting caught upside down by a wire.
Wires, yeah, it's so
Yeah.
weird. That's
Anyway,
when his hat falls off. That's the exact moment his hat falls off. Where you're like, wait, his hat stayed on through all this, but this is when his hat falls off. Maybe Freddy's hat stays on with confidence. So as soon as he loses his confidence, his hat falls off. Yeah,
it represents.
That's how you know you're about to fuck Freddy up, is if his hat fell off.
You're winning. That's when you get to the second phase of the boss fight.
Yeah. That tracks so well for
I think it actually
Freddy.
does though, like a very good tracking too. Yeah. Maybe I think you're right.
Let's make a game where that's the thing now.
Yeah, if you punch Freddy in his face and his hat falls off, you know you're like, okay, I could maybe
almost
win
done.
this.
A second bar pops up above his head.
But that's when he starts to spawn like those fuzzy weird foot worms
with the floating heads
keep you in place. Like, my feet.
But they fight more while he's upside down. It dislodges, sending him flying. Then they make it to the docks. They start fighting there. While Lori gets into it, and Will as well. They get a bunch of gas on the dock.
She's spraying gas everywhere.
They're spraying gas everywhere. Freddy's
also like a weird, dumb moment where like they're both in the boat. Like there's a little boat. They're about to leave in the boat, and he's like, "We gotta go," and she's like, "I can't leave until I see him dead." Like she wants Freddy to die. She just wants Freddy. She doesn't give a shit about Jason. She almost kind of likes Jason. Like even when Jason's like dying at the end, she's like, "I feel bad for this guy."
Yeah,
which I feel like is sort of a constant throughout Jason movies. Like there's always somebody who's like, "Oh, but he's just a little boy in his brain."
Yeah. Freddy stabs Jason in the eyes and the brain and the heart all at the same time, kind of.
All at the same time.
Well, he's like,
it's true. He does do
like
that.
His hand in his heart, and he's
going for the bits that should kill, and he's like, I don't understand why this is not working.
I think Freddy wins, but let's keep going. Jason seems to survive, and Jason rips out the heart
of Freddy.
No, right. Jason puts his heart into Freddy.
No, you're forgetting the most important part, which is that Jason is slashing the absolute shit out of Freddy, and then Freddy slices his fingers off so that Jason can't use his fucking machete anymore.
Yeah,
and all his fingers fall off like little hot dogs. Like he's like,
and Jason looks at his hand like, "What am I supposed to do now?"
And he's like, "Oh."
Freddy stabs Jason. Is it a tie? That's what I read. Both of them get blown up.
Wait, Jason, is this just like a blow-by-blow commentary of the fight? Is that how it's going to be for the rest of the movie?
I'm doing commentary.
Like, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then
they both get blown up. Their bodies go flying into the water. Freddy almost lives, and Jason kills him with his own glove and falls into the water. So I know there's more that happens there, but that's sort of the last little bit.
I think that this fight is extremely cool and good. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but when I look at this, I think that like they're both monsters. They're both beyond what we can understand as, you know, like a person fighting another person. So like the fact that they're just slashing at each other and nothing's happening is like so funny and so cool and interesting. And then also like cutting the fingers off and like ripping each other's arms off and like stabbing each other in the chest with. So like Jason doesn't just reach into Freddy's chest cavity with his good hand. He reaches in with the hand with no fingers.
Yeah.
Like he
Punches
pulls it
him
out with
like,
the hand
just
that shouldn't
stubs.
work. Yeah. And it's all so like dumb and great, and like everything gets more and more dumb throughout this fight where they're just like constantly, it's like how much goo and gore can we milk out of this? And I
wish
go ahead,
because you know, like, so the whole anime thing, because
Yeah.
this is more of that shit. Like, I feel like they wanted to be way more over the top, way more anime, and the studio or the whatever distributors were just like, no, we gotta put butts in seats, make this as close as you can to just a normal Freddy movie. But like, you know, the director was like, no, I want to go
No,
like
we
even
need to have
further,
more
more
squirts,
blood, more
more
ridiculous
squirts,
shit. Like, I want to see like the director's version without any studio.
I assume that those slashes like all of them would just be like and like it would be
I'd
like
also like to point out that one of the first jokes in the whole movie is fuck, marry, kill, Three Stooges. This ending bit feels very like they're whoop whoop wooing each other in a Three
imagine
Stooges kind of
that
a way.
Ash from the Evil Dead was here as well. Like that would be
Exactly.
the real Three Stooges.
And they're the Three Stooges. That's probably why that Three Stooges thing is there.
Yeah. And also why they mentioned the Scooby-Doo thing, because when they're in the metal van, it feels like a twisted version of the Scooby Squad
Twisted
earlier in the
Metal.
film. Twisted Metal. Also, I want a Twisted Metal DLC, even though they haven't made one in years, where you just get to drive that van around and you are Will, and Jason Ritter voices it.
Sure.
I'm sure he'd be down.
He would be. He's on Matlock.
I do like that. So like, you know, the fight goes down and it's interesting, it's cool, it's fun.
Awesome. So good.
But I also really, really like the cinematography choice that they made. The angle that they chose for the shot at the end where like you can, you know, when they're like huddling together being like it's over, and you can hear the like I was wearing headphones, I don't know if you guys were, but you can hear like
I was as well. Yeah.
You can hear the stomping on the dock coming, and then they realize what's going on, and then you look over and you can't quite tell who it is, but you see the machete and you're like, oh, we're meant to believe it's Jason, but we know it's going to be Freddy because Freddy was holding the machete, and it pans up and it is Freddy, and he's just looking at her like, you fucking idiot, like I was supposed to be back and now I'm here with you, what the hell? And he's like about to kill them, and then Jason kills Freddy with his own arm, which is like cool. That's cool.
But also Laurie decapitates Freddy for good measure, and you see this great moment where his head bobs into the water, the body bobs in the water, and Jason fucking is like, job done, and he falls back in the water, which I thought was great.
That Jason falling into the water is like such a good shot. There's something about it, like him like, oh, and like the water that disperses around him, and like the clunk of it, like it's almost like they must have like had weights on him or something to pull him down, because you know, like if you do that, you're gonna float for a second. No, he froze like a rock. They must.
I also felt like there was a moment where Jason walks up right at this moment too, where I thought that Jason was gonna like nod his hat at them or nod his mask at them, and then just fall into the water on his own. Like, my work here is done.
Pulls it down. No, he lifts it up. He's like lifts the mask up. And he's like,
and everybody's like, ah!
Yeah, holy shit, his face is fucked.
But the end of this movie is great because we think that, you know, I guess Jason has won the ultimate fight, but as the movie ends, they show Jason come out of the water with Freddy's head. Jason wins, but Freddy winks. It's a tie. At the end of the day, the official.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day,
the
way I look at that ending is that I think they're both just back in hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's where. Yeah, that's where like the Hellraiser connection would have been great. Imagine you just heard like like a Brad
I'll
Douglas.
tear your soul
Yeah,
apart.
exactly. You just hear his voice being like, "I don't think so," like something, like some bullshit Hellraiser line, just to like tell us that they're in hell.
Now that we're at the end of the movie, are you guys interested? I made a table. It's 2 columns, but I did a kill count. Do you want to know?
Yeah,
who,
absolutely, for sure.
19-1 for Jason. Freddy got one fucking kill in this movie. One, that was it. I thought he was going to get the stoner kid, but then Jason cut him in half when he was possessed by the worm or whatever.
I think that I would call that stoner kid kill it
was a team effort.
No,
it was a team effort, but
I believe
think you're right though. That is like I was gonna say like you should consider that a team kill, but I think that when he's about to get sliced, if you look at the kid's face, that's Freddy being like, "Uh-oh." He's like,
No, I could have used this body a little bit longer.
I think you're right. Freddy only got 1 kill.
Freddy only got 1 kill. So if you're seeing who won this movie by score, Jason wins in Freddy versus Jason.
Jason, you said this is
not
a
about
Freddy
who
Krueger
can
movie. This
kill
is a
the
Jason
other.
Voorhees movie.
It's a Jason
Might be a
movie.
Jason Voorhees movie. Yeah,
it is if you go strictly by kill count. And this might be the most kills he has in a movie, save when he kills everybody in Jason X.
Yeah, he kills a whole planet. Also, I think that like the mathematical calculation for how many people he killed, it was like 250,000 people when he did that. So like he'll never be beaten.
Yeah,
true.
If you consider Jason X canonical, but since the fact that we're not in that reality, I don't think we can.
It's in the future. It hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, exactly. It's a possible future. Yeah.
At this point, he's only killed a couple hundred people. So
that's
that's the movie. They didn't do any nonsense at the end where Laurie falls asleep and then Jason and Freddy pop out and they both do their end of their regular movie.
I think that the only nonsense in this movie for me is the dad nonsense. That is too much.
Yeah, there's
that's
a
little bit
story
too
there
much
that
nonsense. Yeah, and it's also like one of those things where the movie would change fundamentally if you just let those characters have a conversation instead of having him choke a teenage psychopath being like, "Get out of here, Glory, I need to kill him and explain what's going on." Like, remember when he's choking him on the front of that van
and just yelling exposition.
Yeah. He's like, "He killed your mom." And he's like, "No, I didn't." And I gotta choke him until he fucking realizes that.
Well, why don't we go into our Home Alone of It All, our final thoughts and our ratings at that point? We can.
If you had to pick one, what do you think the Home Alone is? The Home Alone of it all. Can someone please tell me when the Home Alone? I really gotta know. When is the Home Alone of it all? When is the Home Alone of it all? Now that's the Home Alone of it all.
Well, Craig, you've been here like 11 times or something now. You know what the drill is, but just for the people playing at home, the Home Alone of It All is basically the idea that in the movie Home Alone of It All, nope, that's not the name of the movie. In the movie Home Alone, Kevin McAllister sets up the traps for the pranksters who are coming in. He ends up being the ultimate prankster when they come into his house and get destroyed. The idea is that that's the part of the movie we're all there to see. When it comes to, hey, did you see this one? The Home Alone of It All is sort of the same thing. It could be your favorite part of the movie. It could be when the movie ramps up for you. It could be the third act sometimes. But this is a discussion we are going to have now. Craig, you've been here 9,000 times before.
9,000 times. Well, because I know we've done Dracula's 1 through 999.
Yep, exactly.
For all of those.
So why don't you be here for the next 2001?
Yeah.
I can't wait for Dracula 4000. That's going to be a real milestone for the show. But Craig,
what's Dracula 2000 sometimes?
It's definitely a lost pages because I have a brief history for that as well. What's your Home Alone of It All? Your final thought and your rating.
Okay, well, as a Home Alone of It All, I don't think it'll be too surprising because you and I have both brought it up a couple times, how like the actual fight at the end, the final act of the movie is like a wrestling main event. Like that's what everyone came to the theater to see. Absolutely. Without that scene, what is this fucking movie? Like, we're all here to see Jason and Freddy fight. That's what we've been waiting for since the 80s to see. So it's not a deep movie. I don't have too much to say about that. It's just a fucking awesome battle scene, and it ends the way you expect it. No one really wins the actual fight between them because they can never truly die. Final thoughts, though, it was way better than I remember it being. As I said off the top, like, it was I was disappointed in the theater because my expectations were way up there. Now as an adult, grown middle-aged man, my expectations were tampered. I know it's just another one of these movies that's fan service trying to make some money, but they did it with a great original story, as much as some of the acting stunk. But at the same time, when you go back through these franchises, like, it's not like all the acting was good. We had Kevin Bacon in the first Friday the 13th, and that's like it. Everyone else was a bunch of no-namers. Well, I mean, even he was a no-namer. That was his first movie. But I'm gonna rate it 7.5 out of 10. Pretty darn good. Not my favorite of either franchise, but like far from the worst.
Yeah. That's good insight. It's a concise insight. Thank you, Craig. You're welcome back every time, obviously. How about you, Steven?
Oh man, the Home Alone of it all, and Freddy versus Jason is, every time that Freddy and Jason are versing each other. That's how I feel. I don't, I don't remember my exact Home Alone of it all from the trailer, but I do remember my exact Home Alone of it all when I realized that this movie is really good. And that's when Freddy and Jason are fighting for the first time, and he ding 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 hits him to the ground, and he drops the thing on him, and then he's like, "Why won't you die?" And then he, like a bunch of water falls down, and then he's like, "Oh, you do have something you're scared of," and he's like, and he like sticks his finger into the side of his head, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I know exactly what's going on in here," or do I? And he like, and then as soon as he sticks it in, that's when I'm like, Freddy's in his brain. This is gonna be great. And like, nothing really happens right after that, but that's when I got excited. I was like, oh, this is what's he's gonna use everyone's fears against each other. This is a Freddy Krueger movie, but then, as I've said over and over throughout this podcast, it's also a Jason Voorhees movie where Jason Voorhees is like maybe scared, but like at the same time, he's been long dead. He's not actually scared of anything anymore. He's not real. He's a husk of a thing. His fears are locked away. They're long forgotten. They're ghosts in his mind. You can't kill him with his own fears. Such a good, it's so good. Everything about this movie is good to me. My final thoughts are that I revisit this movie more often than I ever thought that I would the first time I watched it. And I love Dream Warriors, and I love Friday the 13th part 4. And there's like a ton of them that I revisit a lot, but this one I just go to often because it feels like Scream, and it feels like the Bride of Chucky, and like there's a familiarity when it comes to like the filmmaking to it. So I just like the way it feels to me. And also, like, I don't know, it's fun to watch monsters fight each other. Like, I like The Mummy and stuff. Like The Mummy. Remember The Mummy? That's a good movie.
Yeah.
I remember The Mummy.
That's how I feel when I watch this. Like the first Mummy movie with Brendan Fraser, where he's like fighting a mummy. Like that. This is how
before Scorpion King shows up with the
Yes,
worst.
I'm not talking about all the mummies. I'm talking about the first one. It was good.
I'm backing you up on this. Yeah, the first Mummy was good.
What I'm saying is that this movie gives me the same feeling in my heart and body that I feel when I watch The Mummy, and that might be wrong to some people, but I don't give a shit because that's how I feel. So I watch it often. If I had to give this movie a rating, I would give this movie a missing tear because it's a waste of good suffering. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun.
We really just couldn't get away from Hellraiser on this one, boys.
Keeps coming on back.
I just couldn't think of what to say, so I was like,
well,
that was Tywin. Yeah, that is Tywin.
Classic Lannister shit. Listen, guys, I have to agree with you. Full stop. My home alone of it all this week was literally the fighting between Freddy and Jason. I think specifically the best part of the movie for me would be when he's got the like red goo behind his back and he's voiced over his ADR'd with Freddy being like I've got this under control, bitch, or whatever he says.
He says doesn't he say, what does he say? No, he doesn't say I've got this under, because he says
like, I'm taking care of it.
Yeah, I'll take care of this bitch. I cross out everything as I write. So
yeah.
Anyway,
he didn't say like, give me a break, bitch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fancy feast, bitch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you guys. The Freddy and Jason fighting each other is the home alone of it all for this movie, definitively. I like your guys' takes on it as well. But my final thoughts basically include the cinematography of this movie has some great directorial moments, specifically when Jason's going to Camp Crystal Lake in his dreamscape and he's he's dragging that woman along, but when in the back he's like dragging her through the swamp, and in the back
it almost feels like a Tim Burton or something. Like
exactly,
it's so good. Yeah, it's so cool.
But also Freddy jumping out of the water, that scene is so iconic for this
what I would call those is like
series.
Painterly. Like you could see those as paintings, and like you could hang those two individual moments could be hung on a wall as paintings, and you'd be like, who painted this? Was this Dali?
And those aren't even all of them. There's so many moments that Ronnie, you decided to do to just like amp up an already great horror film. It is a Nightmare on Elm Street movie, but the Jason
don't cry. It's a good movie, I know, but don't cry.
But the Jason element of it all is so fucking good too. Like it is literally the perfect amalgamation of these two characters. This is how they would fight, and we got one of them, which is great because if they made 5 of them, it would diminish after. Like the sequel to this sucks, I think.
I bet you that if Chucky was in this movie, he'd be on the side of the kids. He'd be like, all right, we just need to figure out how to get the voodoo doll back to the...
Yeah, exactly. I have to Ambe Dure a fucking Jason to bring him back after he actually gets killed in the sequel. Had a great time, and I think it stands up and holds up. Probably should have waited to finish the Friday the 13th series, even with that. But that's okay.
But you're gonna watch them and be like, oh, I didn't actually.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I give this movie a 4 out of 5, which I think is a solid. It's not like the best movie you've ever seen, but it is also a solid movie after watching all of these filmographies from both killers. I think it really stands as a really good end to both of these stories. I recommend this to people who are fans, but it totally stands on its own, and I still recommend based on that. I give this 5 slashes on Jason's mask by Freddy's claws.
Like, he's only got 4 claws. Where'd that fit? Did he get a you like slashed and then he went like he got one other one? Okay, cool.
Exactly.
Cool.
And with that, we come to the very, very end of the show. But before we get out of here, we have to do our plugs.
Our plugs, you say? All right, let me just plug this in right here and...
He's dead. How many times has that guy died? It's been 100 times at least.
He's trapped in the Groundhog's Day situation. He just keeps waking up and kill him every week.
I like that. I like that take on our.
One
our
day he's gonna
uploads.
figure out how to kill us, and we're gonna be like,
Oh, man. I hope I'm here for that.
Yeah.
That's how I want to go on your podcast.
Getting electrocuted by a fucking time freak.
Craig's plug this week is him plugging his finger into a light socket.
Yeah.
But Craig, do you have anything that you want to plug?
Hire me. I got laid off on Friday, so if you need an IT system administrator, technical consultant, something like that, just give me a job. Do it. Give me a job.
Jason, do we need that for the podcast?
I don't know, man. Like,
no.
If you want to make $0, do you want to edit our videos while you're in your interim?
Oh, that's the other requirement. I need to be paid for this job.
Oh,
a lot of money. A lot of money. Daddy's got a mortgage to
No,
pay.
I can't pay you $100,000 a year. Sorry.
Okay.
Well, hey, 6 people are watching right now. Somebody's got to get. Oh, we got 2 comments. Let's see what they are. Let's see if they're jobs for you. The plug guy is in the same situation as Tywin.
Tywin.
In all of there's videos. Tywin. Yeah. Okay, and sending sympathy to Craig getting laid. Okay, it does suck.
Yeah. Thank you, Spidey. I appreciate it.
Man. But hire this man. He's a very intelligent individual, and he'll fucking.
He knows how to tell you to turn it off and on again.
Yeah, to clear your cache and cookies, and make sure you select all time when you do that.
I do. Just reboot it. You know what I miss is Windows 98, because in Windows 98 timeline, when we were all using Windows 98, everyone just knew if your computer's fucking up, reboot it. No reboots anymore.
Man.
They'll call you up and you'll tell them to reboot and it'll fix their problem.
But now my job is hinged on people not knowing that you have to reboot your computer. So don't reboot your computer. Call me first.
Yeah. Except Jason never tries to do that when he's experiencing actual fuck ups.
No, I refuse to reboot my computer because I'm going to wait. Thank you, Craig. You're, like I said, you're welcome back here any single time that you want to come back.
Okay, cool. I'll be on next week then.
Yeah.
See you guys.
You're supposed to be on next week, as it happens.
I'm supposed to. We have to swap. Yeah, I'm going to Halifax next week.
You're going to Halifax next week.
Yeah, I told you that. That's why I needed to switch. Next week's guest was supposed to be today, and they needed to switch. And I was supposed to be next week, and I needed to switch. It worked out like magic.
It's true. They're best friends.
Sounds like the beginning of a horror movie. Should we write one together?
Let's do it. Are we doing this? Let's do it.
We start now.
Yeah, it's called Freddy versus Gay Son. That's you two combined.
Wow.
Wait, don't you have a gay son together, you two? Wait,
yeah,
married?
The two.
Blossom buddies. It was pretty gay.
Just kidding. All right, so
Steven, tell us about it. Your back
me?
burner. I have to say it. I have to say back burner.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say that the first thing that I have to say is that I'm going to be in the recording booth next week for the next mini series of Stanland. You guys know Stanland. I talk about it all the time on the podcast and at stanland.com. Go to stanland.com and watch us talk and be funny. There's so many good comedians. Lots of them are famous. Not me, but there's other more famous people other than me. But I'm also the voice of Darth Theorist and also the voice of the Three-Eyed Theorist. I do voices like this and like that, and I think that I'm doing a good job of it. We're almost we're doing good on both channels, and we are doing something special for the end of October for Darth Theorist. And if you guys don't mind, I'd like to show you it right now. All right.
Please do the thing, brother.
Darth.
A long time ago, in a galaxy of endless wars, some stories are older than the stars themselves. Tales whispered in shadows. Stories the Jedi dared never to record. Last year, we brought you a tale steeped in fire and drowned in mud, pulled straight from a nightmare and cast back to hell. This year, Darth Theorist unleashes not one nightmare, but four. Four tales of terror, carved from the darkest corners of the galaxy. Each one a little on the dark side. 4 days, 4 writers, 4 stories. Let's explore the depths of it in the videos.
I was trying to figure out a way to stop the video. I forgot there's like 15 seconds of silence at the end.
Ding dong. Well, thank you, Stephen.
Sorry, hold on. Yeah, we're doing that at the end of the month. It's going to be a bunch of scary Star Wars stories. Please tune in if you like Star Wars. Even if you don't, if you like horror stories, tune in. Yeah, I'm pretty invested in it.
Well, thank you, Stephen. Yes, it's a good show. They're both good shows, all the shows that you do. Speaking of shows, this show is called Hey, Did You See This? When you can find it each and every week at 8 p.m. Eastern here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Twitch is our main home. We usually take this video and put it into its audio form and its on-demand form the next day. I'd like to also shout out Stanland because I did a voice in the Deadbeats and Dragons
Dumpsters.
Deadbeats and Dumpsters series.
Dumpsters and Deadbeats, yeah.
Dumpsters and Deadbeats series. I feel so privileged to be able to do that. You can also find me. I'm the voice of Super Kicked Wrestling here in Toronto. I'm the announcer. This month, we have several shows coming up for zombie wrestling. We don't have a card because they kind of happen on the fly. When you get there, it's kind of like, think of burlesque and wrestling meeting together. But that's coming on. I'll be there for the show on the 24th and the 31st of October. And then, of course, next month, November 28th. So, with that all said, we're going to have an early night tonight because I didn't talk and talk. Oh, wait, no, I have more things to say. We have shirts that you can buy. You can buy them on TeePublic and Redbubble. You can also, I think on Redbubble is the one that you can also get like a mug with these things on it. We have Corporal Tunnel Syndrome, which is our James Bond villain that you can get on a t-shirt or a mug.
Wait, what was the other one we said earlier?
Oh, do we want to reiterate that?
Maybe it was too.
Wasn't like date rape?
Oh yeah, it was date rape. Yeah. Never mind.
So anyway, the Howie Mandel effect is a thing you can get on our shirt. Our flagship crown in our gem in our crown flagship month that we do every month is the Grimoire of Familiar Killers. 2 of these killers are now
retired, both of them.
Yeah. So think about this: if there was like if there's like a ghost face from Scream, and maybe Hellraiser, who knows? Maybe Leatherface, who knows? You can also get the Eldritch Millennial on a shirt. Speaking of this Familiar Killers month, you can get Kill Aid. Look at him blasting through a door or window, and also fan favorite Twinkerbell. There he is in all his glory. Yeah. Look at him. Look at his bulb.
He's gonna come kill you.
Yeah. Murder you right to the end of times. So, with that said, of course, there's only one thing left that we have to do. The guest every week has to do this, or that's the law. Craig, there's one question that needs to be asked each and every week. Could you ask it for us right now, please?
Hey, did you see this one?
Oh, man.
Nice.
Man, feels good to sit down on this couch. How about you?
Yeah, well, you know, I've been here for a while, but it's good to see you, Freddy. How you been?
Pretty good. Pretty good. They fucked me up. Look at I'm missing an arm.
Yeah, I can see that. Holy shit. It's crazy. Anyway, we're going to be here for a while.
That other voice, is that Jason's voice? That's Jason and Freddy talking in hell.
No, I thought I was doing a funny bit, but I guess I'm not. This is how you know I'm not doing a funny bit, is Jason doesn't end it. It's like, keep going. It'll be funny
until there's a
eventually.
punchline.
One of these days we'll get a punchline over here.
Penis.
Hey,
beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And take a peek into the darkness with Heard Noise, Must Investigate with Michael Chan. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mario Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.
Bro, armored dildo. Bro, look, he's so cute. Armored dildo.